man.
Oh, we're gonna
All right.
seriously. We're gonna have to redo it
You
now.
can hear us now. We were talking about when did the phrase. I guess they probably could hear me. Actually, no, there was no mic on mine either. So
they just were deaf.
Yeah,
they were just
completely. They were like, "What is going on?"
I asked
in
the
this
question: when did "Let's Go" become the go-to celebration for everybody in the entire world? Like, and
it's got to be the last 10 years.
it's been
Well,
more than
I think it's less than that.
more recent than that. I want to say like
Yeah, I was
2
gonna say the last 3 years. Yeah, something like
3
that.
years, really?
Mm-hmm. To where it is now, like, because I remember like my kids doing it, kids at school doing it. Like they would say, "Let's go," it's all about how fast you can say it, and not really about what you're saying it for. Like, "Let's go." All right.
Yeah,
all
kids
right,
kids say it really quick. Let's go.
Yeah.
Where are we going?
Like they're afraid the moment's gonna pass. Let's go. I got it.
All right, guys. All right, put your books away. It's time to go to lunch. Let's go. Really? For lunch? Okay, that's cool.
Hey man, listen. When you get to stop learning for a minute and get some free food, fuck it. Let's go. That's what you do. That's what you do.
Who wants to go to Best Buy with me? Let's go. You want to go to the grocery store? Let's go. I'm just saying.
It's so forced to me. Like, so let's reenact what we were saying. So I said, I hate that the use of that term and everybody who uses it.
After Charles said that he likes it.
I was like, I defend it because I use it all the fucking time. I am a proponent of let's go.
Yeah. And then Terrell asked me what I use when I'm excited or whatever. And I said, yeah, boy.
And I was like, that sounds like some Flavor
Flav
shit.
I think Robert's been saying it.
Man, what did I say? I'm an old
direct reactions, I think let's go is something you've been saying.
Oh, no. Yeah, I was like, Robert's go-to is let's go. Every time.
Yeah. He's a fucking Gen Zer. That's why. That's what they use.
Using let's go as like an excited phrase. Like when you're like something happens, you're like, let's go. That.
Oh yeah, definitely.
When did that become a thing and why?
Well, I'm trying to think. I remember. I'm sure. Yeah. There's a bunch of even like you said, the direct reaction. I'm sure. Let's go.
You say less excited. Though. You're just like, all right, let's go.
Like in the last 2-3 years or so, it's really like started to be a thing. Maybe 4. Like maybe right before.
I don't remember it being in football 2-3 years ago.
Well, I
thought it was more in like soccer. I thought
in the chat, I'll send memes of "Let's go."
Yeah. I always thought it was a FIFA, like not FIFA, but a soccer thing.
Oh, FIFA's dead now.
Well,
what is it called now?
EA Sports FC, right?
Switch version, a legacy version, or is it a full version?
Sounds terrible.
I actually don't know.
I couldn't give a shit.
I'm sure it is.
What are they gonna call it after Microsoft buys it?
It has to be a new version now at the minimum because they literally can't use the FIFA stuff.
Yeah, they can't use it or FIFA.
There is no such thing as a legacy edition yet. I guess they could now make a FC legacy.
I'm curious if it is just like the last year version again. They didn't call it that.
I mean, I just don't know if they can. Isn't that like? Wouldn't that be illegal? Because
no, it would be.
I mean, all they have to do is take the FIFA.
Yeah.
All they have to do is take the FIFA naming off everything.
I'm sure if people would have a case, they'd be like, "You're using the same code or the same thing for our license."
So what would you call it then?
They don't own the game. FIFA is just
it's just a name.
It's just the name on the banners.
Yeah,
you just have to change the name.
They can't. They don't own nuances in the game. That's
they could
all.
Use last year's game engine and take the FIFA stuff out. And call it a day.
Yeah.
But
they can literally just resell the same game
instead of FIFA. It'd be fee.
They've been doing that shit anyway, so just put out the same game.
I forget what it is though. Like it's definitely not a member. It's something FC.
It's just FC24.
FC24 is what it's called. Yeah.
I just
FC24.
What does the FC stand for?
Football
Cup.
Football Championship.
I don't know if it is, but it makes sense. Football Cup.
Football Cup. Yeah.
The football.
That's my guess. That's my guess. I don't know if it is, but that's my guess. Football Cup.
All right.
They can't call it
football club. Football club, because I know they always talk about clubs.
Yeah. Club sounds worse. Just call it championship.
No, but that's what they do. That's what soccer.
The clubs. The teams are called clubs.
Yeah, that's why nobody watches.
Except for most of the world.
That's not here.
Bro, you want to join my football club, bro? I'm fucking excited.
I don't want to be in no damn club. What is it, Mickey Mouse shit?
All right, so because we got T and Terrell here, you guys didn't interact, or
it is a football club. By the way, it's football club.
You guys might not even seen that.
He was right. He was right.
After the last podcast, the next day, me and Retro and Clocked It had to we had to debate with Robert about something. So
no, what do you guys?
I saw y'all were on Discord, but I didn't see
I didn't remember how we ended the last podcast.
How did we end?
What?
We're debating on something. I don't know.
You're not gonna
see,
let
I
want to
want to see if
die?
they remember. I want to see if T and Terrell remember.
You're not gonna let the past die.
The last thing we
remember
God, that was like 2 weeks ago.
Dying?
Yeah.
What?
Because I was doing what?
Oh, you're trying to show the prices or something, right?
Yeah, you're trying to show the prices.
We were going through trying to find shovelware by looking at the lowest to highest. So Robert called us out, and you guys didn't get a chance to defend yourself, so I'm gonna give you the chance. He said,
"I don't know why you gave him the chance."
You said it was like one of the worst segments of the podcast, or something along those lines.
Yeah, but like,
wait a minute,
it's a defensive.
What? So what am I?
I don't know why you gotta bring up. You gotta bury like.
Why you gotta bring up old shit?
Moving on.
Yeah,
do you guys feel like we unfairly were ripping?
No,
we're lipping shovelware.
We were not
games?
unfair at all. If anything, we're probably nicer considering some of the stuff that was coming up. Like
that's nuts.
So I will say,
nice things you said, yo. What was the nice things you said?
Clocked It watched it after Robert made
Shovelware?
that claim, and Clocked It disagreed, said that it was fine. Our segment.
Look, in the end of the day, this is how I personally saw it. And this is how, the way we were going. I had no context at first of the whole thing that you're trying to look for shovelware. So if you notice, I went into the podcast last second, was watching, and then you got all I hear is you guys looking at box art saying trash, garbage, trash, garbage. This is stupid. What the fuck is this? Ah ha ha! This is so stupid. What is the fuck is? This is stupid. Oh fuck that. No, like, whoa,
it
was.
Except for the ones we looked up and said, "Hey, that's not too bad. That looks all right."
You can tell a game by its cover sometimes.
2% of the games, 2% of the games, less than probably because it was over 100. 2% of the games, 1.8% of the games.
And we didn't mention the games that were. We didn't mention Sonic Mania was in there. We didn't bring up games that we knew were just fine. We were just talking about the ones who were obvious.
I know exactly. You talked about the games that you have no fucking clue about. So you're
disputing the quality of shovelware. Is that what we're doing here?
But there was plenty of non-shovelware titles, dude. There was ones that people laughed at the titles, and it was for like developers that at least I knew of that comment. I'm like, you guys will like these games, some of these games, and especially like but then it was only like you guys brought up like T was like, oh, Clive and Wrench. Yeah, because you know about it. If you didn't know about Clive and Wrench, you might be like, what the fuck is this mascot bullshit? What the fuck is that character design?
No,
we're not doing this.
I don't know.
I don't get out of that. You know better than that. You know better than that. Come on now.
Listen. I don't know who's worse in this situation.
You're just trying to win an argument now.
I can't tell who's worse in this situation. Robert or the fact that Juice put him out here to die? Why did you do this to this man?
No.
I feel like you.
I feel like you guys deserve to defend yourself.
To be fair though, who's going to disagree with me?
It sounded like y'all slaughtered him. Is what it sounded like.
No. Who's going to disagree?
I didn't know it was against Robert. When did it become against?
Agree with me when you guys are the ones that did it.
Except for T found a game he wanted to buy. Retro found a game he wanted to buy.
Terrell is right. Juice put me out to die because I'm the only one that thinks that. So of course you guys are gonna argue it again.
Clocked It didn't think that either.
Holy crap! Who would have thought that the people that did it don't agree with me? But the whole thing is that what I'm saying is in the end of the day, there was things like Yonder, the Cloudcatcher Chronicles that Retro loves, the developer. You guys laughed at the title and scrolled by.
That doesn't mean they made a good game over there, but that don't mean that game wasn't shovel trash. You can be a good developer and make trash. Nintendo made Wii Music, which is trash. So you can be a good developer and make trash.
I get that. I 100% get that. There's a lot of shovelware out there. Like there was obviously ones that were clearly shovelware, but like there were plenty of ones that was like, man, you guys just buy it based off the title and the buy. Like, come on, guys, what's going on here?
Why did you do this to this man? Why did you literally put this man out to get slaughtered? Why did you do this, bro?
First off, I feel there has to be a distinction between shovelware and indie games. You know, we were actually looking for shovelware. and then you judge everything that you see. But like that's how we grew up in the past. You judge the game by its cover. That's all you had. So you just make fun of it, kind of. But like I said, a lot of these games, I saw them and I was like, I'll give it a shot. I'd buy this.
A lot, bro. That was not a lot. It was over 100 games. You talked 2 games, Zorro and the other game?
It wasn't about trying to find good games amongst the shit.
It
was 2 games. One. So out of over 100%, out of over 100 games, that is less than 2%. So
it really wasn't this deep.
I'm so surprised. I'm baffled.
Why is this even? That's why I said Juice did this shit intentionally for entertainment. This man
100% he did it intentionally.
He said back like the
this is some Zaire shit. This is Zaire. This is some next gen shit.
At the end of the day, like we thought, like we went back and forth.
Whole conversation.
We went back and forth for hours to the point where it was like, all right, we need to just stop.
Like,
why did y'all carry it on this long?
Just because Retro thought Zero looked fun doesn't mean it still isn't pretty. I mean, you could maybe say it's just above Shovelware because it actually has some decent mechanics to it or decent effort put into it. But at the end of the day, Shovelware could be a big IP that they just threw some game out with no effort. 100%. It's trash.
But I would.
Look, here's the thing.
Like that Avatar game that just came out recently.
What's the fucking Balan Wonderworld? Like, I wouldn't defend that shit. I own 3 copies of that shit. I know it's trash.
But that's not Shovelware because the guy actually.
But it's not Shovelware. Is they full on? Yeah, like so. That's what we were trying to make the distinct. Like Barbie's lick my ass and cakes. Like, that probably ain't gonna be a good game.
I get that. But I was getting.
That's probably gonna be Shovelware trash.
How dare you, T?
When you guys were started like
if someone gave the
Lost Pages, like the Lost Pages game, where it's like I knew the game, I knew it was reviewed well, and then you guys are like, what is this? Oh my god, what is this?
We were all actually, even Juice was excited about that one.
Yes, when did it happen? When did it happen? When you clicked the box art, clicked and looked up the gameplay,
I don't think we made,
and then acknowledged it.
I don't think we got on that game as hard as you hear making it sound. Because I don't remember getting on that game.
Why did I don't remember getting on that game so hard on it?
Right. I don't remember getting that.
It's like, oh, what? And Juice was like, oh, there's no animation when
there wasn't in that video I watched.
She's doing that thing. Oh my god! And then you guys see it, and then she does it, and you're like, oh, I guess she doesn't really do that. And then it's like,
Robert, I want to be completely honest with you of how little of a shit I care that this is happening right now. Okay.
Look, and I
really don't want to do this.
Juice brought it up.
I really don't.
I just thought you guys should have a chance to defend yourselves.
What do you
Move on, please. It's not.
I could have lived another day without it. I don't need to defend myself.
Absolutely.
I don't need to defend myself or any of that. So let's.
He didn't
get to some topics.
And I will say to developers, I will say to indie developers, don't make your game look and sound like some Saturday morning, like really young child.
Yes, I was gonna say some cheap edutainment looking game. Like that's
you got to do better than if we made fun of a game based on its title, it looked like a straight up just a Saturday morning cartoon, like generic ass title for some characters. I just assume it was an IP, like then you got to come up with a better name than that. Then if that's gonna be your game and the title in the box art,
be a little bit more creative.
If that actually happened, I don't know. I don't even remember.
So it doesn't look like eShop Shovelware. Make sure
I get it.
You look at that stuff and then
I understand.
Remember, wasn't there like a period? Wasn't there a period on Switch early on in the eShop where they were showing PS4 screenshots and they had to stop doing that? I mean, this is completely unrelated, but that happened, right? I don't just misremembering that.
I don't know. I can't.
I'm pretty sure Nintendo had to put a policy in.
Like, all things considered, Robert, like, I know it must be painful, but the bottom line is not every game is actually worth playing or looking at. There's just
it's like there. When did I say that? When did I say that? When did I say that?
I don't want to do this.
I keep saying that. I understand that there's games that are shovelware, but I'm saying
I don't want to do this anymore. I want y'all to know.
For me, like, I get because of I feel like the amount of indie games that I be playing that, like, you could see the distinct difference.
But how many? Just from our perspective, how many of those indie games actually get physical releases that are going to be in Best Buy? Like,
that are going to be in Best Buy.
Like,
I mean, sometimes you'd be surprised,
don't
man.
happen
You'd be
very
surprised.
often.
Sometimes you'd be surprised. So you're agreeing with what the point of the statement is.
No, I say you'd be
most
surprised.
of
Like,
these
there's
games,
a decent amount. Like, there's actually a decent amount that do get physicals in like.
I guess
it
that
wasn't
would be
for
the
super
positive.
rare or limited run.
That would be the positive takeaway.
Most of these games you wouldn't even see. What's the other? There's another one like this, kind of big. I can't think of it.
Special Reserve, I think there's one.
Yeah.
I'd shocked just to find out that those were just genuine indie games, whether they're highly rated or not, that got a physical release.
How dare you question our fucking indie game acumen? We're fucking Wii U bitches, okay?
That's why I was so confused. I said it in the chat.
Borderline shovelware trash on the Wii U. So we would cap for because we ain't had nothing else to play.
But that's what I was saying.
I think you know what we need to do. Terrell, share your screen. Let's go to the Switch eShop and let's pick some shows.
Well, that was my whole thing.
Yeah. Oh god. That's a whole show right there.
Yeah, but that's a whole thing. Don't do that.
Because we were from the Wii U, I could have sworn that we would be way more open-minded on just some of
that's
these
the thing.
titles.
You said 100 games. How many of
turn
those?
this into an indie game thing, and that's some bullshit.
How many of those 100 were actually indie games, Robert? How many of those 100 were actually an indie game?
Bro, I didn't count.
You counted everything else.
But there was a decent amount. Was it like over 50%? I don't know.
And I would say out of most indie games that come out, most of them are probably mediocre to trash. That you have the upper echelon of indie games that come out, but most of them are going to be good. Most of them aren't good. Most video games, period, aren't good. Okay, they're not great.
I agree with that.
So
yeah, most video games that come out are not going to be good. That's the reality fact.
I playing this fucking game that had a budget behind it called The Surge. They gave a sequel to this garbage ass game. I don't know why, but it's
there. I would say, out of those 100, there was at least 20 that were just $20 games, like Sonic Mania, like the Street Fighter 2 collection. Like we didn't, we weren't just saying everything that was scrolling through the screen. Anyway, let's get on to it.
Yes, please.
I hated all of that. I want you to know that.
So
the fact that it was allowed, I feel like is illegal. Yeah, move on.
When does Mario Wonder? That's the Friday, right?
Yeah, Friday. So that and Spider-Man.
Literally in a couple days, yo.
And then tomorrow, Sonic.
The world will be wonderful.
Has it been reviewed yet?
No. Spider-Man. I watched one Spider-Man review and.
It's at like a 90 right now.
You know, when I tell you that I don't care about the score that somebody says, I don't care about what they say if it's worth buying. I just care about when they talk about the game and the things they experience. And the one thing that I was most hoping to not hear from the Spider-Man 2 was like basically the same complaint where you have like the same enemy types every time you battle. You have. It didn't specifically say the heavy. I don't know if that heavy, like, replacement for Kingpin, you know, that the heavy dude that you always had to fight was annoying.
Yeah, Kingpin. Yeah,
almost.
Kingpin.
But they had, because they had Kingpin, they said, well, we'll just slap this other skins on these other guys, and they're gonna fight just like them. That's still a thing. It's like still the same smaller group, limited group of enemy types, and like... the side stuff, open world, just like collecting like the bags, the robberies are the exact same. You land on the car, you get a quick time event, he dodges that guy, he webs him, he dodges the other guy, and then he stops the car with his webs. They basically just copy pasted that whole, like, what you have to do other than like the main missions and some of the bigger side quests. And I'm like, it's like that's disappointing. Doesn't mean the rest of the game might be improved in every way, but I was just like, God damn it. Why couldn't they?
Wait a minute. I know we ain't hating on that now. Well, Tears of the Kingdom has literally a huge section of what Breath of the Wild was. That don't add up to me. I don't know.
Well,
I think he's talking about like, but the activity
for me that was like
how many things did you do in Breath of the Wild like activity wise was the same?
It would be like
activities.
First off,
that are similar in Breath of the Wild.
I wasn't saying that they're the same. It's that the thing that's the same.
You could say that. You could say, I guess the robberies were the Koroks. You could say. I guess you could say.
But the thing is, I didn't like those in the first game.
Shut up.
So it's not about them being the same. It's about I didn't like them in the first game, and I was hoping to not have them in the second game. That's what I'm saying.
I loved them in the first game, chasing the cars through the streets. That Spider-Man shit, that better had been in the second game for me.
So you liked every...
Yeah, I didn't mind that person. I actually didn't.
I love
I
every
don't
time there
mind
was a
it. I don't
car.
mind
Every
it.
time there was like a police thing about a car, I'm like, fuck yeah, like swinging over there through the streets, being Spider-Man and shit.
Well, swinging is fine, but
yeah.
getting to the car and doing the same quick time every time, you never got bored of that.
There were like 4 or 5 variations in what you had to do, but yeah, like that better be in the game. The only other way to could have done it is the only there was a different ways or different quick time events or the way he got the
what was the
villains to stop
different
the
ways,
car,
man? I
whatever.
don't remember there being different ways though.
You hit triangle, you dodge, you pulled the
remember.
passenger out, then you did it to the driver, and then you stopped.
Yeah, I don't remember
Either
any
way,
variations.
hey, I'm glad you
There
liked
were
it.
slight variations in that, but either way, just different buttons where he goes
Their
for a
animation
different.
variations.
You had different ways where he either grabbed the guy from the car or not, where the guy kept shooting and you had to avoid it that way. I'm not saying you had the whole different gameplay mechanic, but the variations on the quick time events. All I'm saying is the only way you can do it differently is if you have to manually stop the car with webs or something like that.
I would say people didn't like breaking weapons in Breath of the Wild, and they brought them bitches back.
Yeah, I mean, I always
that's a thing. No, but that's a big difference between what made like the combat in Breath of the Wild to say like, oh, you can't shoot webs in Spider-Man. It'd be like, wait, what the hell? What do you mean you can't shoot webs? Like that's like the equivalent.
I
of
would
that.
compare more to the Koroks. I would agree with that.
The one activity that you do is to the whole
damn Koroks.
I feel like
I would agree that Koroks.
I lost my desire to do the Koroks a lot sooner in Tears of the Kingdom than I did in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, because you'd already done it before.
I can understand people not liking the Koroks and stuff. Personally, I like it. I think the building stuff
I'm stuck on my
lot.
back.
But here's the thing: getting the Koroks.
I need to get to my friend. Help me get to my friend. Every fucking area, I'm like, nah, bro. You can lay your fat ass right there, man.
That's why I didn't mind. It was optional. It was optional, so I don't really.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Getting the Koroks is not a Zelda thing.
But what do you get from
optional too? Car is a Spider-Man.
Okay, but what do you get from that optional thing?
That stuff Spider-Man does. He stops villains.
You know, Retro likes to do the mundane stuff.
Does a car chase people try to get rid of?
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
No, look, I'm not against. I actually don't mind the robberies. I actually don't mind the robberies.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Listen. No, let me explain then. I like the idea of having just encounters in the world, like stop a robbery. Have me doing something different. I said chasing a car and just taking the guys out, webbing them, stopping the car with web. Like, just have me actually stop a robbery. Have the next time they get...
You do stop robberies.
That is in the game too.
Yeah, you stop robberies.
Oh yeah, that's right. But to do more in the next game instead of just repeat the same things.
Add something like the Koroks. So add more to like how the Koroks did the different. You may not care for the Koroks, but they did add more things to the Koroks. To be fair, so you would want more different.
Yeah, that's right. There were regular robberies, and you just ended up just getting in a combat situation. And
yeah.
One of my problems with Spider-Man 1. Marvel Spider-Man 1 was
I hate that name.
you gotta say because that's the different.
I know, but I hate it. No, you're right, but I hate it.
This is the real Spider-Man. Fuck all the other Spider-Man games you've been playing for the last.
This is Marvel
40
Spider-Man.
Years. This is Marvel's.
Didn't Marvel license the other one? No, this is Marvel's.
That's some Activision bullshit.
Look at reviews or anything. So I'm assuming because Miles Morales didn't really have it, and that's why I thought Miles Morales was a pretty big upgrade from.
Well, there's stealth missions that suck in this one.
There are?
Yes.
I was just about to say that. I hope there's not.
I mean, what are you expecting if this is the third Marvel Spider-Man game in 5 years? So
it's just incremental changes.
But they didn't do it in Miles Morales according to Robert. They didn't have a...
I'm sitting here defending. I don't even care for Spider-Man.
Yeah, but Miles was also progressively. It was like a immensely shorter game. It was very much like.
Well, no, it was for a good reason because it was a better pace.
You removed all the bullshit
like with the MJ stuff.
Man, why you gotta do that?
I'm sure Retro Death probably loved the Miles
realistically,
Morales
like, bro, I remember I have clips on Twitter of like the most dumb AI for MJ.
Yeah,
I would stand right in front. What was that? And then you'd stand right around them and you just walk right up. And it's like when you get like they're trying to push the cinematic realism thing, and then you have the dumbest AI for a stealth mission, you're just like,
takes you right out.
Bro? Why even bother?
It's basically a no fail kind of situation. Yeah, you can fail it, but it's just like you just got to go through the motions, and you're gonna succeed almost every, unless you really suck at gaming. Like you're gonna,
and that's why that, and then, but then I also didn't love the level design, the objective design, where a lot of it was, especially towards the end, they would just have waves. Essentially, you get to an area and you just have big waves of enemies, like 5 groups of enemies, and you just take them out. And at least I saw a tweet that they do that, and I was like, I wish they just create a little bit more creative in terms of the level design.
It's like Insomniac, or it's like T said, they've 3 games in 5 years. They're obviously just pumping these games out along with Ratchet and Clank. They're not gonna have the time if they got a deadline to hit to add stuff. And I mean, at the end of the day, if you like Spider-Man 1, it sounds like you're gonna really like the sequel. And if you like Miles Morales, you're gonna like the sequel. It's not.
I thought Miles Morales was great. I really did enjoy it. So
that's part of the reason why I didn't buy Miles Morales, because I knew Spider-Man 2 is just more of the same kind of stuff.
I haven't picked it up yet.
Yeah, but I would wait. If you care about, again, it in the end of the day, it's still a different game. You're still doing different objectives for Miles Morales, and also you're following the story of Miles Morales.
But Miles is also in this game. So like I imagine all the stuff you could do in Miles Morales is probably gonna be in Spider-Man 2 anyway.
Yeah, but that the story of Miles Morales is not in this game, my man.
Well, yeah, but like
you can pretty much.
That's a pretty big difference. It's and it's just like, I mean, to me it's like that's like if you're saying, well, I played Mario Galaxy 1, so I'm not gonna really play Mario Galaxy 2. Like, in the end of the day, it's 2 different games. Just in the end of the day, like
good.
And retro is a maniac, but whatever. We're not gonna question that bit.
They're so fundamentally different games,
You jumping, man. You're just jumping.
Like,
those are the problem.
I compare those two, but like, Galaxy 1 and 2 are obviously even more different than Spider-Man.
And it's like,
they are. Yeah, they actually are.
They're actually quite different.
I mean, I'm not sitting here I wasn't hoping that it would be, same or less. Obviously, I was hoping to hear that, oh wow, they really stepped it up with this game. I'm not saying I would have ever bought it, but I might have if it was cheap enough. But it's just like people are gonna have this on their Game of the Year list, and I'm not saying to people it isn't, but as a PlayStation owner and fan of since 2017, been higher on Sony than I ever had in my life before. I would hope that with Insomniac and PlayStation that they would go a little further with the gameplay department, instead of just pumping these games. This is just for me personally. Like, Insomniac seems like very technically sound. They push visuals, they get performance. They're very good at that. And just for me as a PS5 owner, this being the only Sony first party game this year, it's not going to do it for me. And I would just hope that next year they have some more stuff, because for me this has been a no year for.
I think everybody likes different things, so I understand if you don't like the games. It's not really about that. But when it comes to them doing I haven't played it, obviously, but when it comes to doing vastly different things in sequels or new installments, let's not forget for Game of the Year, you're going to get a new 2D Mario. You got like the new sequel to Zelda. You're going to get a new 2D Sonic. We got a new Mortal Kombat. All these games virtually do nothing different than their predecessor.
Hey, listen, retro. Mortal Kombat's different. Come on, relax. Megan Fox is in Mortal Kombat, bro.
No. He's saying
Megan
fundamentally,
that's a whole different experience.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, they've been what they are from their inception. Fundamentally, he's not saying they don't do anything different. I don't think he meant it that way.
I'm gonna guess that.
I hope, but it's retro. I don't know, because he loves Spider-Man, and I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
you could play Mortal Kombat, the original one, and then play this new one. And, there's a lot of.
I would say this compared to
to
Mortal Kombat 11 and 1 are probably feel just very similar. Just like Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers didn't change much. But that's what I'm saying. When you is 2018, was that Spider-Man?
Yeah.
And then Miles was 2020, and now 2023. That's 5 years, 3 games.
Like, how do you know what year it is?
How do you not?
I don't fucking know.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
I think.
That's wild,
I think,
bro.
This is a shade podcast. That's what this is.
What the fuck is going on?
I think Insomniac's capable of more. And,
I'm gonna turn the light off with all this goddamn shade.
It's just bummer for me that even if people like this and champion it as a game of the year contender, it's still I would have wished for another game or a different game for me.
What he's saying is a better game is what he's trying to say.
And I think Insomniac could do it. I think they're all about quantity. And I mean, they're polished games, technically.
To be fair, it's the only studio Sony has that's consistently putting shit out right now. So like,
but I would rather wait 5 years for Naughty Dog's next game than have them put 3 games out in a 4 or 5 year span. Because
let's say Sony waited.
Then they have nothing
no
this year.
Spider-Man. Yeah. Okay, then. So that sounds good in a vacuum.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I will give Microsoft credit. They just tell their studios take the time, get it right, or get the game done. Not whether it's right or wrong, whether it's polished or not. They just say release the game when you're going to release it.
Well, for Sony, this is going to be their biggest game of the generation, if we're being honest with ourselves. Like, I don't think
really. That's wild. That's wild, Robert.
Bro, even I think Spider-Man was the best-selling game on PS4, like for them, like first party.
This is no cross-gen, so
that's not
Spider-Man.
That's not fair.
Spider-Man is one of the most iconic characters. They prop this up like it's a new MCU type of a cinema. Like, this is the next Spider-Man event.
It might be the best-selling PS5 version.
They treat this
right,
but they treat this as not like just a game. They treat this as the next Spider-Man event. Like, if you're a Spider-Man fan, you play this game. You buy this game. You watch No Way Home. You buy this game. You watch Across Spider-Verse. You buy this game. Like, this is the next Spider-Man thing. It's not a tie-in movie game. It's not. They spend money.
But these games don't sell like 30, 40 million copies or something. You know, the
last one sold over 20-something million. Like, this is their. This is
PS5 only.
This is their biggest game of the generation.
I said 30, 40 million. You said 20.
34 million.
He's like, I got the glasses on for a reason, young man.
Regardless, what I'm saying is, like, this for Sony. This
might end up being their
game of the generation.
Best-selling PS5 only game.
And a lot of times that should be in bundles and shit too, and they count that as a sale of the game.
No, don't get me wrong. Trust me, all their numbers are fluffed up from their numbers from a while ago. But regardless, Spider-Man is going to be their
Mario Kart never did that.
I'll put a bet on that right now. You know, but it's like.
Well, what is you're saying PS5 only game? So like God of War was cross-gen, so you can't count. Obviously the PS4.
Yeah,
such a big install base.
My thing is that to me is sad because I'm still waiting for this is the PS5 game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
agreed.
If this is the best game that I had this generation, that worries me a lot.
No, but I don't think I'm not saying quality, not best game. This is just their game.
Honestly, I think the excitement would be I don't know what the excitement is, but I feel like it'd be higher if they didn't release Miles Morales in 2020.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
I think there'd be a lot more excitement.
I don't know about all this because I see it differently. Again, whether you hate the game or not, the reason I liked it is not just because of all the gameplay stuff that most people didn't like.
Anybody hates it.
But you had like
Retro loves to say
one thing that made Spider-Man so good. One thing that made the original Spider-Man so good, I feel, and I'm gonna call it the original Spider-Man, I don't give a shit, is that I like the story and the intrigue and the villains. And then you had like the reveal at the end, and then you got the DLC Miles Morales, and you got his story. And I feel this Spider-Man now is an evolution of gameplay of both of those, and it merges the stories and it adds all these new characters, and that's all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be more than that. That is a big like mount up, I feel, story wise. You're adding both characters in the same game by expanding the gameplay.
I just feel like you overexpose something. It doesn't matter how, even if this was, unless this was like undoubtedly a 9.5 to 10 out of 10 type game, and people are just, oh my god, I can't believe how good this game is. I'm just saying from a hype perspective, I think it would have been better for if you had waited 5 years to finally get the new Spider-Man on the PS5. I think the excitement for me would be I think would be higher. For
no,
people.
agreed. Absolutely,
I
I agree.
just never
I agree
had
with that.
Miles Morales that most people regard higher than the original
But they could
Spider-Man
have
itself.
just have that be a chapter or
listen,
two in the game in the
personally, I also don't think that does Miles any service anyway. His first game is DLC technically. It's like it's like how's that doing Miles any service? I'm not saying I'm not saying it's not a good game, but I'm saying if you're talking about doing Miles a service, his first game is effectively just DLC. I'm like, if anything, I would have made the argument to like have him have his own main game and let that be the second game. The first one
called
be
Miles Morales.
Yeah, but
it's a
just look at the price.
Come on, man. We doing this now? Come on, man.
No.
They know
we are doing this because it's a full-fledged goddamn game. It's just a full-fledged game.
They said it wasn't. That's why they charged $50 for it.
It wasn't. That's why they bundled it. That's why you couldn't get the remaster of the first game until you bought the Ultimate Edition of Miles Morales.
In the end of the day,
if Bowser's Fury is a full fucking game, Miles Morales goddamn definitely is a full game.
Wait.
Bro, it's just as long as Resident Evil game.
Who said? Wait a minute.
Not a full game anymore.
Wait. Bowser's Fury by itself.
Red fucking Miles Morales. We're on Miles Morales. Miles Morales is just as long as any Resident Evil game, but apparently now Resident Evil ain't in a game.
No, it's
the
not about the
developers
length.
themselves.
Okay, so shut the fuck up. Resident Evil Morales is a fucking game.
No, we're just talking about the goddamn.
He's twisting and turning to win an argument. We're going to bring in a whole entire different game to prop up our argument.
You're talking about length, Theo. You're talking about the length.
I wasn't talking about the length.
He didn't say the length one time. You're projecting, son. You're projecting.
Why is it, Terrell?
I didn't say the length. You brought
He didn't say length. Not one time.
I bet you the developers said
you said it's as long as a Resident Evil game. That's what you said.
Yes, and so why?
I never brought up link those to put up making.
All you do is go by what the dev said. The dev said about their own game.
Why is it essentially a DLC?
I gotta be with Robert. I gotta be with Robert on this for several reasons.
Be realistic. Stop fucking bullshitting me. You know it is. We both know you say
it feels like glorified DLC is what I'm saying.
We're living in a different age now. We're very often.
Let retro talk.
In the end of the day, it's a great.
Oh my god.
Let retro talk.
He shows violence.
We're living in a different age now, where very often DLC gets made, and then they switch the idea and decided to make it their own games. So the length of the game doesn't matter, I agree. But I feel Miles Morales maybe started as DLC, but they considered it big enough to sell as its standalone game. And this has happened way often before. Uncharted did it with Lost Legacy. Fucking Silk Song is technically DLC.
I don't count Lost Legacy as a full
game. Lost Legacy's not a full game either. Nice try, but
no, but what I'm saying is they're selling it standalone as its own game, and
that's all you got to do.
It's its own game, but that's the difference between it being a full-fledged.
Super Luigi U is a full-fledged game, my friend. It's a full game. It's still on its own. Lord have mercy.
So since we can't, it's not the length. I want to make sure we understand this. Here's the situation. I want to try to break this down. No, I want to try to make this. I want to break this down officially. Spider-Man 2018 came out, and that was a full game. That was a full experience. Whatever, right? Miles Morales came out 2 years later, using essentially the same engine. Came out for a budget price for the launch of a new console, and literally is just a slight extension of the same game you got.
They said it's an expansion and enhancement.
It's not. Do the combat.
Even the developers were like,
the developers said what now? No.
You didn't play it, bro. The combat.
The developers said what?
Because the combat was literally different.
The developers said what?
It's an expansion and an enhancement to the previous game.
What?
An expansion and enhancement to the previous game is what the Vice President Simon Rudder told before.
For me,
because that's literally what it is.
If you take,
it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, well, I don't know why you taking it as a bad thing. I don't get that either.
Standalone game.
Because it's a full. I mean, like
it's not a bad thing.
You want to call that a half game?
If you
it's not a full sequel. Obviously, it doesn't matter.
So what? Are you saying that Marvel Spider-Man 2 is a false name and it should be Marvel Spider-Man 3 since Miles Morales exists? Since that's a full game?
Does it mean Age of Calamity doesn't exist? I don't understand. If it's a spin-off.
No, what? That's not even the same thing.
That's a
spin-off.
spin-off.
Don't do that.
That's
Don't
a spin-off.
fucking do that, Retro.
Since when do the numbers have to follow
Oh my
each other?
god.
It's about.
When do the numbers have to follow
Age of
each
Calamity
other?
was a fucking.
Age of Calamity first off, full price game. It wasn't budget price. And it's a spin-off. It was never gonna be Breath of the Wild 2. It's a spin-off.
Of course.
It's a completely different
It's technically Breath of the Wild. It's technically prequel is what it really is.
If for some reason Miles Morales was 25 hours long, right?
That didn't make a difference.
Will we be having this conversation?
No. If it was 5 years. No. Wait. If it was 5 years removed, and was a longer game with more new features and things. It didn't matter. Hours doesn't matter though.
It matters.
It doesn't. No, because the hours didn't matter.
Don't count.
You're the only one. I would say again, you're the only one who brought up length of this freaking thing. You're the only one who brought it up.
But he did ask a fair question.
If it was 25 hours, would we be saying something different? He said yes. You just said it. We could go back.
If it was 25 hours of the same bullshit, no, it wouldn't be. No.
My issue isn't length, is what I'm trying to explain.
Terrell thinks so. So it's about length for him.
I would say
what I'm saying is my issue is the fact that it's 2 years removed from a game that took how many years of development, using the exact same systems, using the exact. I mean, hell, even fucking Breath of the Wild was 6 years removed. I mean, Tears of the Kingdom.
That's amazing. Well, guess what? In the end of the day, let me ask you. Think about how we just started this argument. You didn't bring that up until you started thinking, and we're discussing. And then you're like, "No,
that's how conversations go."
Let me ask this.
It's because you don't actually think that.
Whether you gonna gas on it because I came up with thoughts during the conversation.
You have
to lock into a line of thinking.
Let me ask Robert this question.
We didn't even know this was the conversation we were gonna get
into. All right. Let me ask this question, Robert.
I can't.
Robert. Is the reason you don't accept what he initially said is because it's on a disc and you don't down and it's not it's factually not DLC for the game. I know that's the only thing you need to hear to know it's not DLC.
Yes.
Luigi's U is DLC that they later released.
It doesn't say on here that this is DLC. It says
they later released it.
Hey, we're not doing that.
They later released it.
That's wild.
That was DLC,
Absolutely
literally.
Never become a lawyer. You would lose every case.
How dare you?
So it doesn't matter if Miles Morales is 25, 50, or 100 hours. If it was DLC and you had to have Spider-Man 1 disc in there, it'd be DLC to Robert. Because it's downloadable content, right? I know you take that very literal.
Yes.
That's a retroism, by the way.
He's talking
That's a well-known retroism.
So you, there's pointless arguing because to Robert, as soon as it's
this is a point.
it's not DLC.
It's not really worth the
you
conversation.
can't even say it's even like DLC.
Think about it. Let me
you
ask
can't even compare it to any DLC.
Hey, what's the expansion to?
Your mind can't be changed.
What's the expansion to Play 2 called?
There's another thing, Terrell. They had multiple DLCs that came out for Spider-Man 2018, and then they launched this full game, all new cutscenes, all this full game that has side missions, main missions, all this type of things, standalone. And why didn't they just make that a DLC in that? If they were already doing DLC,
Battle of the Gate, Tony, full game. Full complete game. These are all full game. Undead Nightmare. That's a full game. I got it on a separate disc. It's on that's a full game, bro. Like it's a full game. These are full games.
Yeah, I just wanted to point that out to Robert. If it's released on a disc, it's a full game. But so let me just say this
argument at that point.
According to you guys' logic, also in America, you have Luigi's Mansion. Then you have
he's trying to make this a regional thing now.
And Luigi's Mansion 3. So Luigi's Dark Moon is not
even. Shut the fuck up! Shut up!
Game.
Shut up!
Has nothing to do with any of those two games. That's the worst. See, that's what I'm saying. He will be the worst lawyer of all time. That was the worst argument.
I'm so mad that you even brought that shit up. Shut up!
So I'm just gonna end. I just want to,
was that
for future reference, so we can avoid these arguments. The only reason he said it's glorified DLC is because if it technically, like Horizon's what was that called? Frozen Wilds?
Yeah.
That had cutscenes. That had a whole new area. Like they could have released that $40, and I would still say that's glorified DLC. The thing about it being DLC is that they took basically. I know they use game engines over, but it's a quick turnaround. They use either the same world, same assets, everything. They do a side story sometimes, other times not. Like Lost Legacy, they took a couple side characters. They didn't have confidence, I'm guessing. It started as DLC, which they said, which doesn't matter to me. But it didn't start the main character, so no Nathan Drake, which is the reason you said you didn't care if you ever played it, or it wasn't important to you to play it because it doesn't have Nathan Drake. And it has side characters. Yeah, they released it and it was $40, I think. I still, as much as I love that game, I say it's my favorite Uncharted of the Uncharted series. I still consider that. What's the phrase I just said about glorified DLC? It's just what it is. It's not a negative.
And that's not a negative thing. That's
what it is.
Miles Morales could have easily been DLC when you look at some DLC that we've gotten in other games, you know. It just
absolutely
decided they wanted a PS5 launch title.
That's why I made the argument. That's why I made the argument. If you were going to talk about the conversation with Miles, then I would have said it would have been a better service for him to have his own full game. Actually, if anything,
he had his own full game.
God damn it!
No, you mean he had his own standalone game.
I'm talking about. You know what would have been cool? Listen, you know what would have been cool if you had Marvel Spider-Man 2018 and 2023 you had Miles Morales, and then 2029 you had Spider-Man like across the do something where they're like them being together was
it could have been Spider-Man.
Because they would allow them both to breathe in their own universes.
Let me ask a question. Hold on, let me ask a question. Let's say a game was 14 hours long. Would you consider that a full game experience? Just based on the time alone. Would that feel like a 14 hours?
Some games, 14 hours into something. Other games, no.
Right? Okay.
Length doesn't matter for a game.
For the most part, that would feel like, because a lot of games, especially quote unquote cinematic style games, whatever,
a lot of modern games,
about 10 hours. A lot of modern games, right? 10 to 15 hours. There was a quest line in Starfield that can run you about 14 hours. So if you take that quest line out of Starfield, it's called the Crimson Pirates quest line. Take that quest line out of Starfield, call it Crimson Pirate, a Starfield adventure. Is that a game then? No.
I don't know. Microsoft has to publish it, put it on a disc, and say this.
Oh my god!
This has been a big waste of time. I'm glad to get it.
You made a good point, Juice, by saying that's all it takes for Robert to see it as a full game. It's on a disc by itself. That's all it takes. The argument is moot at that point.
Game, and Spider-Man 2 literally continues from this ending of the game.
Like, I just think that everybody's arguments, Terrell's arguments, are the absolute dumbest I ever heard. Because you're saying the only thing that defines the sequel or not is the amount of time between.
No, I'm not
that was
saying
part
that
of the factor.
at all.
It's bro.
It's a combination of multiple elements. If a game engine took me 6 years to develop, I put out the game in 2018, and then 2 years later, I put out another game in the same world. That's a quick turnaround, like Juice said, a minute of fucking ago. On top of the fact, most of those kind of games are shorter than the main game. It isn't it's not required, but that's literally what happens.
So
almost every game that's in this realm
World is not a full game. Are you saying 3D World is not a full game? And
what the fuck? Who brought out 3D World?
Wait, Terrell, by your logic. Hold on, let me explain.
Well, 3D Land was the lesser.
When did 3D Land come out? 2011, right? 2 years later, 3D World comes out. Same idea, same gameplay style, same engine,
same world, same everything. It's the same game.
It's the same fucking thing, man.
My example is going to be Majora's Mask a year later.
Oh my god.
It literally makes no sense.
Is this an engine argument or an actual what the game entails argument?
I said it was a
Majora's Mask is another bad argument for you.
This debate's going nowhere.
What makes me mad is that it's a combination of 6 different things, and I got the thing like 2. I got the thing too, and y'all were like, it's Mario 3D World fucking DLC.
No, hold on.
Well, let me blow your mind, Robert.
That's literally what you just
said.
Let
me blow your mind.
Oh, I got the thing too. Fuck you.
Not a brand new game.
Let me blow your mind.
No, this debate is going nowhere. You're right, Lenny. Right. Let's move on.
Let me blow your mind before we move on.
Next debate.
On the Juices Loose, 3D World is an expansion.
3D Land is the fucking side game.
It's an expansion of 3D Land.
3D Land is the not quite the full game.
Nobody in this chat would agree with anything you just said. No, not one person.
What? No.
I'm just saying.
I need to know. Let's just keep it simple. Do you think that Miles Morales is fucking glorified DLC? I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm not saying any of that shit.
Games come out. How like?
I don't understand why you can't.
That makes it like. What's the time frame that makes you like? This is a brand new game. Is Majora's Mask now a game?
Okay, when it's an engine that is as massive and you had to build from the ground up.
Full game?
Yeah, Majora's Mask is set in a completely different world, completely different characters, completely different timeline. Everything is different about that game, other than the engine. That is a completely different game.
New York, so to be a new game, Spider-Man needs to not take place in New York. It needs to be so Spider-Man 2 is a fucking same game as Spider-Man 1 then.
And also,
oh my god!
All right.
You know better than this, man. You know better than this,
so
man.
Robert,
we ain't doing this. We ain't doing this. Let's move on. Can we move on, please?
Just in future reference, it's not a negative. What you're saying, what you're saying when you say borderline DLC, listen, it just means that it's obviously, or in this person's mind, it's not the next like full true sequel. You know that. It's not saying it's a negative. It's just saying, hey, this, everything, a quick turnaround using the same environment, same engine. You know, it's not meant to be like, it's not going to be like Halo 5 to Halo Infinite. Like it would be like, if Halo 5 had a ODST or not ODST, what'd they call those in between games?
No, it was I thought it was ODST.
OST or whatever.
Yeah, OST.
You know, Halo 5 to Halo Infinite. There's no debate. You know that those are two completely separate games. Those are two, full Halo games. It's no Halo Wars. It's no.
Hold on.
I don't know about full when it comes to Infinite, but
whatever.
It is now.
Yeah. So you're just saying borderline DLC just means it's not the big sequel to the game.
I 100% understand what you mean by that, but it is still factually a full game, though. To say it's not a full game doesn't have a beginning, middle, and end.
But you can't accept like what he's trying to say when he says borderline DLC. He's not.
Yeah, but
it's equivalent to DLC in a standalone.
What do you mean? What do you think I mean when I say that, though? What do you think I mean when I say that? Is my question.
Now we're moving on. Mario Wonder on Friday. Microsoft acquisition.
Mario Wonder is only a scanning job when it comes to.
Don't do this, T. Don't do this, T.
Bowser's Fury is not a standalone game, so that we can't say that. Anyway.
Oh my god.
Microsoft acquisition, and like I've said many times with the Bethesda and with this one, not a single game, not a single IP by Bethesda or Activision Blizzard do I care about, do I play. So I don't, I think the only Activision game I bought was when they published Sekiro. I don't know.
Are you saying you don't have a pony in this race?
I don't have a pony in this race.
Get the fuck out of here! How dare you?
Maybe someday if they bought a studio which makes games that like I really like, if they bought Capcom, I'd have a lot more personal feelings towards it.
They're not buying Capcom.
So the deal got done, and I mean, I will say we gotta give Microsoft credit. Out of all the other companies, I think they're the only ones you can feel pretty confident they're going to still release some multi-platform games. They're not just going to lock everything. They will do some.
That's my biggest thing, right? Like, you can have problems with these acquisitions, and they're going to happen, right? But I will say, at least on Microsoft's side, it's not just going to be locked to their box. It's going to be in other places. So that's the one good thing you can say about their acquisitions that you can't really say.
Yeah, I wouldn't Nintendo or Sony. There's no way they're gonna still do the cross or multi-platform. Nope. But so I mean, it's been going on forever, and it's known that the deal was going to go through after a couple months ago. Whenever that the case was, whatever the extension happened, it felt like it was going to happen. If anybody's got any thoughts on just the acquisition in general, but T and I found some common ground yesterday, so I just wanted to start there. I don't understand I don't know if people are just trolling or what, but just to see the comments of people just so excited for the next company Microsoft's going to buy from the Capcom, Square Enix, like naming the companies, Sega. I don't understand as a gamer. I don't care how much you love the box you own. I don't understand the cheerleading for buying more companies. Like, you're still, like, especially if Xbox, you're still getting all Capcom's games that
it doesn't make any sense.
You got everything that they put out. So I don't understand that mentality. It's just, to me, I just can't even comprehend it.
Honestly, there's only two reasons for me to cheerlead this acquisition. One, Bobby Kotick is gone. He is a terrible stain on gaming. I'm glad he's gone. And you can go look up what he did and what he allowed in his company, all that good stuff. Oh, actually, I added something else. Microsoft allows these companies to unionize, which is a huge thing, which I love that. I'm all about the unions. And I guess the third thing would be, which is, I think a big thing for a lot of people, especially if you're like a BioWare fan or whatever, Microsoft has been talking about wanting to re-up these old IPs that have been laid dormant for forever, because what Activision was doing forever was snatching everybody who was doing their own projects and saying, hey, go make some trees in Call of Duty, go do something for Call of Duty. And that's what they were doing. So all these studios that could have been doing other things have been stuck in Call of Duty world.
I don't remember the studio, but there was a few years ago, somebody that was known, was it BioWare or somebody? They're like, yeah, we're making Call of Duty assets.
Right.
Like, it was like a company that had made some games people loved, and it had and they're like,
it's embarrassing. Imagine you're a company who's made some great games in the past, and you're tasked to do some texture work.
But
on Call
I'm
of
not
Duty.
necessarily convinced that still won't happen as long as Call of Duty.
I'm not. But at least there was a chance. I'm happy that there's at least a chance now, which I do believe. I think Microsoft wants to. They want to. I don't know what's the right word for it. They have all these IPs. Obviously, they had IPs in the past they haven't done shit with. But at least the difference is they still have the talent. Now, if the talent takes off, then we're in trouble. But that's what happened with Rare. Like, you can be mad that all these Rare IPs are dormant.
Rare's not there.
I said it 1,000 times. Rare was gone before they bought Rare. A lot of those dudes took off. Free Radical and all those guys dipped after Perfect Dark or during Perfect Dark. So even then, the good thing is that the talent is still there to make these, I guess you could say, pipe dreams happen. So those are the good things. Other than that, I don't know what you're cheerleading for. That's a weird flex to me, bro. Like,
and I mean, they were searching for a buyer, right? They weren't just like,
yes, they didn't get acquired. They were looking to be bought, and there's only a couple people out there who can buy them, and I'm glad it was Microsoft out of fucking Tencent or what's the other big one? Amazon. Like, if there's gonna be anybody, I'm glad it's these guys. So
yeah, I just, at this point though, like I have a PTSD from my company getting bought out and all the crap I've had to deal with the last 8 years or so, 10 years.
Embracer, that's the one I was trying to think of. Embracer.
But it's like, they shouldn't really need to buy anybody else at this point. Like, unless a company is going to go under, like a studio is going to go under, let's say, independent, not like a small indie studio, but like some company that's like, let's say Nintendo with Next Level or something. Let's say Next Level was just like, man, we can't function on our own. Or Platinum Games, if like we're going to go out of business if we don't get it bought by somebody, in those situations.
My thing was, I just said Embracer. I'm worried about Crystal Dynamics. I wouldn't mind Microsoft getting them because they actually have cultivated Crystal Dynamics for years. They worked with them. So if you want to do the whole organic growth thing, they've organically worked with Crystal Dynamics for at least 10 years, if not more. So because of what's going on at Embracer, everybody could be shuttered. I don't know. they were hinting on this $2 billion deal. So
I'd rather see. I mean, I hate if it's just Microsoft every time. It's just like, but again, you at least feel like there's a chance it's going to be multiplayer. I mean, obviously with Bethesda, we'll see when some other games release. The first two weren't, or first three I think were exclusive, but it is what it is. If Crystal Dynamics is going to go under, or they're going to get bought out, I mean, they're not like my favorite developer, but I like the newer Tomb Raider games, and I would rather them not go under if they still have the people there and they can be bought out.
Or Sony, I don't give a shit. One of them, somebody save them because I don't want them to go under. So
in that regard, it's, you know, I'm not against it, but I just rather if they're successful enough, they can keep the doors open and be successful and be third party. To me, that's the best scenario. And then the other thing I saw was guys like, oh, Microsoft's gonna be first in video game revenue now. Like, that matters to you? I mean, yeah, when people bring it up, I always say, yeah, but Nintendo's like 2 or 3 times the revenue of Sony and Microsoft. Like, so anytime somebody says Nintendo's not making money, yeah, you can use that.
And how much profit? Like, Nintendo makes more profit than anybody. They don't make nearly the revenue that Sony or Microsoft does, but they take home most of the money.
I saw a chart though. Nintendo was way ahead, and I thought it was
not in revenue. They're ahead in profit.
Was it
Microsoft or Sony's at the top in revenue?
Huh? I thought it was a video game related revenue. I thought whatever it was, Nintendo was at like I think 6 billion. Sony was at like 3, and then Xbox was like 1 something.
Sony had 3 billion in revenue. No, they're much higher than that.
Maybe it was profit. I don't know.
Nearly 20, as far as what I remember.
Either way,
I'll go search while you guys are talking.
Yeah, look that up. I'm pretty sure.
This year I seen it because I was like, damn, Nintendo's that far ahead. It might have been profit.
Number 1 profit was Nintendo. Number 2 profit is actually Microsoft, and number 3 was Sony. Just barely. I think it was like I think it was like a $500 million difference between Sony and Microsoft as far as profit.
And it was, somebody pointed it out because, you know, you still have people acting like Nintendo's like they should go third party and stuff, and it's like, listen, they're making a shit ton of money. Like, are you serious?
What are you talking about?
They are not even. They are so far. Like, they're so profitable. Like, they're just printing money. I mean, Mario.
There was never a time
enough money of Mario Kart 8 alone.
Mario Kart.
Like, even if you look at the N64, that documentary I just shared with you guys, in the documentary they said, we're making so much money, because they were talking about, well, was it a failure? Was the N64 a failure? It was like, we made so much money that generation. Like, we made more than everybody else did.
Controllers and expansion packs, memory packs.
And again,
cartridge.
Sony was spending so much goddamn money to do what they did, and that's why they were number one. They were number one, but they weren't making any money.
It's like,
they were.
I mean, Microsoft's. Like, they're not. It's going to be a while before they recoup the money they spent the last few years on acquisition, 70-something million or billion total. Like,
no.
Like,
well, I guess
Xbox
recoup
to
it.
Actually make that money. I mean, Xbox to make that profit back.
I think they brought that up in court. She was, I think, the lawyer was saying, like, that's a lot of money that's gone or whatever. It's like, it's not gone. The Activision Blizzard is worth $70 billion. Yeah. It's an asset. It's not. Like, we didn't just throw it into a furnace.
But it's like if you buy property, you know, you might have spent $100,000, but you have $100,000 worth of property there. So.
Exactly.
So I looked it up. Yeah. It says the largest gaming company by revenue in 2023 is Tencent.
Oh yeah. Well, I was.
Yeah, this was not counting mobile. This
then if you don't count them, Sony's next. Then it would be Nintendo, and I don't even see Microsoft on the list. Like, they did it as like Sony's at like 8. Sony's like 80 billion. Nintendo's like 13.
It's for revenue, right?
Yeah, for revenue. 13 billion.
Game revenue though.
Not profit.
Yeah, I was gonna say gaming revenue though.
That seems like a lot for gaming.
Let me sure. I think it's just going by.
The one I saw was 2020. Company. They went off 2020 or 2021.
Oh, well,
but either way,
what I saw was 22. I saw it 22.
Okay, here we go. The way they did it by quarters. Yeah, it's 2022. Sony generated 4.87 billion revenue in quarter 2 2022. Microsoft did 4.79 in 2020, and Nintendo had like 5.22.
That sounds closer, but either way,
I'll look a little bit more into it.
I think honestly, at this point, with this current acquisition, I just really think Microsoft's they put out. I mean, I guess the leak said they're putting out a revision of the Series X. Was it discless, the round one?
Yeah, discless.
I don't think
that's happening.
I don't think they're that worried about the hardware at this point. Like, they're just gonna they could just be making, I think, Candy Crush as part of that deal, World of Warcraft subscriptions. I mean, there's so much incoming money from. I just wonder where their heads at with like. They're gonna put out hardware, but I just wonder how much of a focus it really is for them at this point.
That is why Microsoft is buying shed race. They don't want to make the games. They want to get money from people who make the games.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, Sony spent a lot of money, like you said, in the early days, and
they didn't want to make no games either. They had no games at all.
Studios.
They bought everything, and they bought exclusive rights and deals and stuff to keep the games off of Saturn and keep them off of N64. I mean, what they did with Square, that was just, whew. I mean, I can't blame them. That was some ruthless ass shit they did, but that's what they did. So everybody does this.
Yeah,
but only one company gets blamed for it.
I mean, Nintendo in the day was like that. They had super expensive licensing fees, and they were just like,
which put them in that situation.
If the internet existed back then, they would have been like, oh, you don't want to pay for the Super NES, then play on the NES. Play the old games on the NES. They would have probably said that right to somebody. Ask, like. If you get a second job, if you want, because when the Super NES came out, families, moms and dads are like, why would I have to buy a new system? It doesn't even play the same games. Like, they just were baffled.
Yeah, because we hadn't been 5 generations in where it was a normal thing. This was strange to people. Like, what? I got to buy another system?
Nintendo was doing some stuff too, and it's like, that's just, unfortunately, that's some business tactics that. It's maybe not moral, but it's legal, I guess. And it's like, you find out about it, and you're like,
this is sleazy.
Other than that, I mean, they did sign the deal before all this even was done with Nintendo, right? For Call of Duty for 10 years.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah.
So I wonder when that takes effect, because I think last podcast or 2 podcasts ago, we talked about this is the latest. They've like shown the newest Call of Duty game, and it's supposed to be coming out.
And you know why?
Because it wasn't even supposed to be. It was supposed to be an expansion, wasn't it? It wasn't going to be a separate.
Yeah.
game.
Well, at least
they were waiting on this deal too.
Yeah. So when do you think the Nintendo Call of Duty game will come out next year?
Well, it's got to be next year. I mean, it's 10 years.
I would assume next year. Yeah.
Next year on a new console.
Well, yeah.
No, they committed to Switch. They have to put something out on Switch. Legally, they legally blinded
Nintendo. I don't think they can really to Switch.
Microsoft themselves said we're gonna have Call of Duty on 150 million systems. They were talking about the Switch because the Switch was at like 110.
And they full
also
parity.
Just to appease the dudes.
Let's see if they can put their money where their mouth is and see when they actually try to get Call of Duty from 200 gig file down to something that runs on Switch.
Oh, you mean like 5 gigs?
I just feel like it was. I never expected it for the Switch. I always expected just for the next console.
I expected one of them for the Switch.
What they were saying, and they were saying
I expected at least one for the Switch.
Yeah, they were saying
Nintendo themselves can be like, we don't want you to put it on the Switch. We want you to put it on the other system.
Sure, they could go back on that.
They could.
But
I don't think they will.
Are they going to? Is the question.
I'm sure.
It's not like they're footing the bill or anything.
They probably want the bigger install base, so they probably would try.
They can get that license revenue. They want it on the biggest install base, I think.
Yeah, that would make some more sense.
But then the probably gonna be more work. I mean, I'd be surprised. Like I mean,
hey man,
I think they can do it.
Yeah, like Terrell said, maybe would do one, but I don't know.
Shit, they ain't need Microsoft money to do that shit. They just didn't do it. They could have done it before. Bobby Cutting was saying that.
Do you guys expect? We have plenty of time to talk about this in the future, but do you expect Nintendo to do a cross-gen transition or just cut ties like they always did?
I think for maybe a couple games, yeah.
I'm thinking they're going to do cross-gen for at least the first year. depending on what.
They never really jam cross-gen. They rarely do cross-gen.
Yeah, that's
Mario
tough.
Kart 9 could use some
I
cross.
don't see them doing cross-gen, honestly.
I'm not saying every game, but I find it hard to believe with the way if they do another Switch, it keeps NVIDIA and its ARM and all the operating system and all that. Maybe not the operating system, but the architecture. I don't know. I would just be curious. I'm just curious. Maybe they just say that's just going to hold us back. We want to move on from this hardware. But at the same time, it's like it is a smart, from a business standpoint, it is kind of smart if you're worried about game sales. But then you look at the Switch, some of the biggest selling games by far in their IP.
Wii U games.
Yeah, I've made 2 or 3 videos saying that Nintendo's just wasting this fucking install base when they could be bringing back, some of those IPs. What was the Clocked It video? Testing the waters and shit. You could test the waters with your console right now with fucking F-Zeros and Star Foxes and all that stuff.
We got the brand new F-Zero just now.
Man, get that shit out of here. They would sell the best they've ever sold. They would sell the best they ever sold. That's what happens on Switch.
That's a game until Nintendo pulls it, or you lose your Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah, pretty much.
Vaporware.
It'd be gone in probably less than 5 years.
I did the training. I did one race. I got 24th, and I retired. Wow, it's saying ads.
What? Jesus.
It's giving me a pop-up saying that it's playing an ad.
That's 24th out of 99.
It might be playing an ad.
They changed something
What's
because
playing an ad?
I thought the monetization screen was different, and I must
24th out of 30, which would be
they probably did actually.
That would be terrible. But 24th out of 99 ain't that
99
bad.
ain't bad.
It's 24th out of 99. Yeah, I mean it was a good.
Yeah,
I feel like. I mean
that's 25%.
Yeah, I mean, I was like,
in the top 25%.
I'll probably never do better, but I can tell you right now. I mean, it for what it is, it's a solid experience. But
I think considering the absolute success of the Nintendo Switch and what Nintendo did after the Wii, I think it's like one of the most interesting times ever to see what Nintendo's gonna do next.
I think so too, because I've been for like years. I've been like, what are they gonna do? Like in my mind, they're just do a Switch 2 and have it backwards compatible, just with new features, better docked expect and I think that
well, that's the thing.
Juice, I'm curious.
Go by
it's gonna be. No, I was gonna say, if you think it's gonna be cross-gen, which games do you think it will be cross-gen?
The more after I said it, I'm like, why are they holding Metroid Prime 4 if it's just gonna be cross-gen? Like.
The only reason I think they do Metroid Prime 4 specifically is because they've promised it since 2017.
Yeah, that was a promise more so than anything else.
Did they ever say it was going to come to Switch, or they just said it was in development?
No, they definitely said for Nintendo
First year of the Switch, but I don't.
No, I was going to come to the console afterwards. We never said it was Switch.
I don't think people would hold it.
Switch
again, you'd be a bad lawyer, bro.
But
let's see.
I think like
I'll look it up.
You can say you'll be a bad lawyer, but did you specifically hear them say it was going to be released on the Switch?
No, we're not doing this.
More, man. I mean, maybe my memory's bad, but we'll look it up.
See, I hate your face, bro. Put the glasses back on. Put the glasses back on.
What was that 2017 E3 featuring Nintendo Switch game upcoming? Nintendo
6 years ago, Metroid Prime 4 is currently in development for Nintendo Switch. It's literally the
they didn't say it. They didn't literally say it. It was just on a little thing on the bottom of the screen. They don't mean they said it. They didn't.
Although, however, that's not. You know what? They could get away with it and say,
"Can we not do this?"
We restarted it. That was the last version.
Yeah, that's true.
So let me see the restart. I'm gonna see.
Remember
the
2 Human?
Even if they say it's currently in development for the Switch, nothing in history proves that it needs to stay in development for the Switch.
Yeah,
2 Human took what 3 generations to come out when that game came out.
So what?
It was trash when it came out.
For like cross-gen, like I think they could do it for certain games, like even Mario Wonder or Kirby or something. Like then the base game be the Switch version, and then you 4K 120 or whatever 60 frames per
backwards
second.
Compatible.
4K 120. Like,
you're assuming it's gonna be backwards compatible
because it's probably gonna be 60 FPS.
Okay, fine. That's fine.
But as far as like the bigger like new entries like Mario Kart 9, I wouldn't see that being cross-gen.
I just don't see them doing any cross-gen.
It's just not. I don't think that's in Nintendo's like.
Nintendo's never really cared about it.
it is from a business.
What they did for Breath of the Wild,
is...
I think there'd be one title that if they feel like they promised.
But I don't think the Switch.
Metroid would be that game, in my opinion.
Breath of the Wild isn't necessarily cross-gen. I feel they just abandoned the Wii U version.
Well, hold on.
No, but it's
Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess was like that too.
But
the Twilight Princess is more unique. The game got flipped.
The difference is the previous
we call that flip mode.
The differences between the previous, in those situations, the previous gen systems were basically dead in the water at that point. Like in the Switch could potentially still be going strong, so it would be
that's the comparison I was making actually.
So it's like I could see them.
I got Booster Course Pass 2.
Oh jeez.
Although they were still dropping Just Dances even before even before Just Dance came out.
That was wild, by the way.
So other than that, I mean, Sony released or announced the PS5 Slim, and again, people have been saying for a year, just like the Switch, that a Pro model's coming, and I've heard people saying that for, it feels like the last year. PS5 Pro. Well, there was a new SKU, 2 new SKUs. Well, it's technically
I think the Pro would have been a better choice than the Slim, especially
honestly,
when you...
No, I think the Slim makes more sense than the Pro.
Honestly, I mean, we're gonna.
There is no Slim.
It's not really a Slim because it's replacing the old model. It's gonna become the new base model.
That's what all Slims are. The PS4 Slim took over, the old model disappeared. I mean,
they didn't call it the Slim. They're just like the PS5.
Did they call it the Slim, or did we?
It was Slim on the box.
No, it was called Slim on the box.
I don't think. No. I'm saying like I don't think the new PS5 has the word.
No, that's
Slim.
what I'm saying. That's the point I was making.
Okay.
It's not.
I'm calling it the Slim. That's just the easy way to say it.
Everybody calls it the Slim. I mean, because it is a slimmer, smaller, sleeker.
I will say.
Yeah, but you kind of feel bad because there's no identity for the console, man. I mean,
it's just a redesign. I mean, consoles do it.
Who gives a shit?
It went from ugly to uglier.
Just like the Xbox One to the One S. I mean, it's a complete redesign. But they call it something different. So as a PS5 owner, I don't feel like this is, oh my god, I gotta get this version now. Like there's not a price drop, and there's not. I think I personally like the design of the new one. I mean, it keeps the original shape, but it's smaller. I like having the black line kind of divides the sides.
He like the hourglass. That's what it is.
Like a vagina.
So I like it, but I don't think
I love tacos.
It's not going to get me to sell mine to get this one. You know, like that's how I feel.
Well, the only difference for you would be just more storage, right?
Yeah, like 100 gigs. And I mean, I think it would look better in an entertainment stand. You know, if like, and I could actually have it sideways and it work.
That sideways kickstand. Come on now, let's be real. Let's be real about that sideways.
They designed that thing specifically for it.
It looked like they was like, oh shit, we gotta put something here. And they propped up a little thing and said, like that looks terrible. It looks terrible.
But
like, I like the design of the actual PS5 right now because it's all like one thing. It doesn't have like a
the stand in the current PS5, like they thought that shit through because you can put it on the side and shit, and you can use the same thing to prop it up. You know,
I think the PS5 current PS5 on its side looks horrendous, and I think the Slim looks better. I hate it on its side.
Let me get my thesaurus out real quick.
I don't like the side view of it either.
There's a kickstand. It's a kickstand, bro. Like it don't look good to me. I don't know.
Well, it's very thin too.
I think that'll just disappear.
You could do the same with the original PS3. You could even like flip the logo if you would put it up straight.
You could, but I would. I don't think it's really.
Nobody
smart.
did that, but yeah, you could do it.
But I will say,
right?
Why did you do that, you weirdo?
Because this closet space I have for it goes like this and not like this.
Oh, because you had to. Okay, gotcha. That makes more sense.
if it was like significantly quieter, like the disk drive, which doesn't matter, only runs for 30 seconds when you start the system, and you never hear it again.
Just checking your code. That's checking the code.
But I know we disagreed in the chat, but I think it, just from looking at them from a company standpoint and a consumer standpoint, I like that the digital version is now like it's the same. It just has they have a removable disk drive. I think that was actually a good idea, and they should have did it to start with, to be honest. And
that would have made. I wish they would have done it to start with.
If you bought a digital version, yeah, it sucks that it's not the $100 difference, so it's going to be a harder sell. But at least you're not locked in to never be able to have a disk drive. And I guess if you bought the disc version and a couple years from now you're downloading everything, you can just take it off and have a more streamlined system. I mean, it's not like a huge, oh my god, that's great, but I thought that's a good idea. That was that way that for them they only have to manufacture one actual core system, and then
they are charging more for it.
That's my biggest thing. They charge more, and it's just weird that it's just weird.
Of course they are, because they want you just to buy the disc version.
If you buy digital at this point and you even have a hint of,
we know it's cheaper for them to produce. We know that it's cheaper for them to produce.
Well, yeah, of course.
Charging more.
I don't think it was $100 cheaper though. I think they were for the previous version. There's no way a disc drive was only $100 difference from the original PS5 digital in the disc. I always thought that was why. I think they were just trying to stay closer.
You thought there was?
I think they were doing it to stay closer to the Series S in price. Which
I thought that was one of the big things, is that they're not losing money on hardware anymore. They decided to not do that. So I thought it's never going to be 1-to-1. Whatever they take out, it's not going to be. Oh, that's exactly how much less it's going to be. No, that's never going to be a thing.
No, I know, but I just thought that was the $100 difference was. And honestly, with the new Series S is $350. I'm guessing that's just gonna be the new Series S. I maybe
$350.
Yeah, the black one.
I thought it was $3.
No, it's $350.
The black Series S,
which not too many people talked about. I heard a lot of digital.
I actually don't even know what you're talking about.
$50, and that's out.
They added another terabyte.
They added 500 gigs. But
you're talking about
the new Series S is $350. I just looked at it at Best Buy yesterday.
Yeah, it is. It's $350.
So, I think if that stayed $300, I don't know. I'd be curious. But then the disc drive is $70, and I'm guessing it comes with the side plate. Maybe it doesn't. The bigger side plate. I didn't look that up.
I would assume it does.
I would assume so, right?
If you charge $400 and then $70 for the disc drive, then you can't charge $500 for the disc system. So that. To do that change, I think they had to do something. But either way,
well, I was thinking, why? I don't know. It's weird because it's like, I feel like if you buy digital, it's like what a waste for yourself. Like, and then you get I'll get the disc drive.
Well, that's not. I mean,
here's my question.
Just buy the physical, man.
Here's my question. The physical one, can I detach the disc drive from that one or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
The two are identical.
It's the exact same thing. One just comes with the disc drive and one comes without.
Okay, I was just curious.
Which for them, from a manufacturing point of view, it should actually be cheaper because they're not producing two completely separate systems.
I just meant
I would always think that Sony would want the disc-less version cheaper. Because clearly you make more profit of digital games.
It is cheap.
Price them the same anyway.
No,
it's cheaper. It's cheaper than the one with the disc, but we're talking about the original digital only PlayStation was only $400, and now they're charging $450 for this digital only PlayStation.
Oh,
that's what we're saying.
It has 160 more gigs, which isn't.
Yeah,
it's nothing to, and it's. I mean, they redesigned. Redesigned. It's 30% smaller. It's quieter, heavy, or lighter.
I've never seen like a Slim that gets charged more. Like, I don't know. I've never heard of such thing.
That is kind of weird.
We're in a different timeline now, bro. Like it's happening everywhere.
But I would agree with you if they just, I don't know, if they just put out, I don't know, because they had to design and build a new system, so it's not like they just.
But they do that for every Slim. Like, you have to design a new system.
We don't. Yeah, like T said, this is in the world where the Slim's going to be. They went from 400.
I just find it weird. I personally find it weird. I'm like,
I think the only reason why they did it is because this Slim's advantage is the fact that you can technically turn it into a disc-based system.
And they got a lot of
waste of money.
More than the disc.
It's a waste of money. Don't do that.
But they got a lot of slack.
Agreed. Absolutely agree.
They got a lot of slack about the size of the PS5. I think that is probably, I would guess, the only reason this even exists like right now I mean,
well, especially in like Japan, you would think that would be that.
Honestly,
you think that would be a harder system to sell.
Smaller
because
size,
of the size
is appealing enough where, like, if I could get, no one's gonna give me like $450 for my PS5 at this point. But if I could have, I would.
You don't think so?
I would upgrade.
Would you sell it?
I would upgrade for $50 to get the Slim version.
I actually bet you someone would totally pay that. To be honest with you.
If I sold it right now, I don't know.
Yeah, you could.
It's so readily available, and I mean, they had the PS5 new for $450 for a while in June, so it's like,
yeah,
I wouldn't do it.
One thing I would say about Slim models is I don't trust the sturdiness of them as much as I do the original.
But you also get
as someone who's only owned Slim models from PlayStation. Then yeah, wait.
What? Picture's frozen. I don't know if
is it frozen. Oh, what the fuck!
Man, that could put your look at this podcast.
Hold on. Let's rewind this. All I was gonna say is, for someone who's owned only Slim models, mostly from PlayStation, like my PS2 is Slim, PS3, PS4 is the Pro, but everything else I've always owned the Slim version. The only one I've had issues with is the PS3 Slim, where I had to replace the actual Blu-ray drive, like the disc reader. So I could see T's point on that one.
I just think like build quality and shit. Like if you look at like the PS1, the ONE, I think that's a pretty sturdy little device. But when you get the PS2,
I still like the smaller one.
The Slim on PS2, that's fucking wafer. It's so weakling. It's like I know mine didn't last. I still have my original PlayStation 2 still going. No problem.
They usually come with the price. They usually came with the price drop, so that it is new uncharted territory. Because I think if this was the
price hike,
if they were cheaper. If the disc version was $450 or $400 and the digital was $350, I mean, people would be.
It almost makes me wonder what's the point of buying the digital version then at this point. Like,
if you're never gonna put a disc in it, would you pay $50 more? I mean,
yeah, like
it just seems like a bad sell now. Like you made the digital version worse.
Then you buy it, and it's more expensive than the.
Yeah,
you kind of made the digital version worse.
Yeah, like now,
the other one.
Yeah, the best option is about the disc version.
Not if you're never going to use it.
But then,
why even have the attachment that makes it more expensive?
Then don't buy it.
That's the thing. The attachment is weird. It makes
like I'm trying to
make sense. Person. I thought they were going to release, maybe some firmware update or something, and they were going to drop like a standalone kind of drive that you could, put that drive onto your old digital version of your PS5, because this was, when they were talking about the rumors of this, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's like, okay, some people bought that digital version, and maybe they bought it because that was the only thing that was there in the store, and they're like, I want to use my disc now, and they can go back and use a disc. But no, to me, it's good for them. I just don't see what the benefit of a consumer sitting back like,
That's what I'm trying to say. I don't really get it.
Like save $50, like in this economy, $50. I wipe my ass with $50. That's nothing. That's nothing.
You savage.
And I mean, if like, let's say you don't need a disc drive, you don't have any physical games, you want to get into PS5. Yeah, it sucks if you just buy the one now. Then if you want a $400 PS5, buy it now. Why would you wait? So. This one's coming out. It's gonna be $450. So let's say once the $400 ones are gone, you buy it for $450. If you look at controllers and accessories, they always go on sale. So that $70 disc drive might be $40 on a sale on a holiday or something, and maybe I'll pick that up or something. I mean, I'd be crazy. You'd be crazy to buy the digital version and then buy the disc separately for $70 and pay $20 more.
Yeah, I mean, maybe 5 years down the line.
The other thing is repairability. I watch a lot of Tronics Fix, and he always talks about the repairability, and drives are usually slave to the motherboard. I know Xboxes, almost all of them are slave. You can't just swap out a disk drive.
Really?
Yeah.
When did that happen? Well, you got
the last two generations. Maybe even the PS4 was like that too. They're absolutely. unless you can get the little motherboard off the disk drive, which some you can, some you can't. You can't just put a new disk drive in a system.
Oh,
it's stupid.
Really? When did that happen?
Dude, I've been watching Tronics Fix for years, and he's always talking about it. He's like, yeah, I can't just swap. It might have been, was it the
360? PS4, you can still take the disk drive out that bitch.
Was it the 360?
360 you can take the drive out.
I know the PS3. I did it for. I used
to do that for. Now I want to say
actual
for a living.
Disk drive.
I used to make money.
That was your side. That was your side hustle.
It might have been the PS4. It might have been the PS4 Xbox One.
Yeah, I used to make money like repairing them and replacing them.
I think it was the PS4 Xbox One gen because he's always talking. Yeah, I can't.
That makes more sense.
I can't swap this out because it's slave to the motherboard and I can't.
Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't know about the Xbox Ones. No.
Yeah, I'm not.
And I don't know if it was Series X and S or not, but either way. Like, this would be a way to, like, your disk drive fails or it's super loud or something, and it would be a way to just quickly. So I don't mind that part of it. But like I said, I don't think it's like, oh my God, I got to get rid of. In the past, you might have said, man, I want to get rid of my launch PS4, get the Slim. It's so much sleeker and it's cheap. It's cheap and there's a lot of reasons to do it. Like the Series S, not Series S, 1S. That's a huge improvement over the original Xbox One from aesthetics. It ran slightly better. It was quieter. It was cooler. I mean, dead silent. I mean, there's a huge number of reasons to get it.
Yeah.
Lenny out here trying to get some toilet paper out of you.
What'd I miss?
Oh, no.
That's an old man saying, by the way. You don't take it literally.
Well,
but toilet paper is expensive. Goddamn it.
One thing we didn't talk about is the sad news of the Wii U and 3DS online, man, closing down.
Nobody don't care no more, man.
Oh no!
Dude, 10 years later, 11 years later, 12 years by the time it's done.
No! What a shame! I'm so sad.
He locked it in retro right behind him. We're playing through.
And PS3 still up. Just saying.
And we're having a lot of fun with it. To be honest with you, it's when you have a group and you just there was some genuine tension when we were playing.
It's inevitable.
Really,
I'm not as worried about it.
I might have to record because I was playing on my capture card, so I should just like retro. I should record the voices in the game because it is pretty fun, man.
So good.
It is pretty funny, but also but like for me, like look, I'm the guy personally that does go back and play Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, and stuff like 360 and stuff. So like that's why for me this shit is important. Where I'm like, damn, and especially like for all of us, the Wii U is such an impactful system for us in our lives. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the Wii U. It sounds very
Black Ops. That's the game you pick. Out of the stuff, like you can still play those on other consoles.
What are you talking
online?
Play Black Ops on Series S.
No, but I'm saying I'm saying I'm saying Black Ops. Like I'm saying like I go back and play those. Like I'm playing on 360. Like that's not closing down.
Okay. You confused me.
I'm saying like I do go back. No, like
that's what happens when Nintendo uses a different company each time they do online.
Every time.
Yeah,
They
absolutely.
can't just port that over to suddenly.
Fucking terrible, bro.
But I will say, because you brought this up, the cool thing about being a gamer today is that there are other fucking gamers out there doing some amazing stuff.
They are.
Pretendo Network is out there. They put in all the fucking. They got. I think they got Splatoon already.
They got Miiverse.
I think they got Miiverse running, and I think they got. I think they got it, or they're working on. Mario Maker, which is phenomenal because that's a huge part of that game. To lose that for that game is sucks. So, but that's the cool thing about it is at least that there's a group out there. If you really want to continue to play your Wii U, and I do, Pretendo Network's out there doing some doing God's work.
Pretendo Network.
They call themselves Pretendo Network. It's great. I love it. It's beautiful. It's still from that. I didn't come up with the word pretendo, but
but it's still like
overjoyed about that.
Like sacked, with the eShop gone. Like it was only a matter of time, but
but Miiverse has been gone forever.
To be honest, I'm surprised they actually kept it on for this long. To be honest with you, I'm actually surprised, especially considering Nintendo closed. When did they close the Wii? Wasn't it early into the Wii U's life cycle? Like pretty early.
It's pretty early.
So to the fact that we're like getting near the end of the Switch life cycle and they still have the Wii U on is pretty surprising, to be honest with you. But
it does
and
change for some stuff. Like I watch a streamer Yukar who does Super Mario Maker content, and he still goes back to Super Mario Maker 1 because there's just fundamental differences between the two.
Right.
And like that's literally a series he's gonna have to kill afterwards. When Nintendo shuts it down.
Yeah.
You don't have to kill it. You don't have to kill it. It's gonna be a little bit weaker, but he doesn't completely kill it now.
Yeah. And well, that's the same thing with, like I definitely I'm going to, by April, I'll probably at least try to get my last full. I'll definitely record a bunch of video and stuff on just these last
1,000 videos in April.
I did when Halo Reach, like for instance, Halo Reach, they closed down the Xbox 360 servers, and yes, they do have the Halo Master Chief Collection with the Halo Reach. So don't get me wrong, there's still a way to play Halo Reach multiplayer, which is awesome. But like that 360 that you played with, those servers are just gone. And Halo 3 and all that type of stuff. So I remember, I played Halo Reach one last time on 360. It was just nice, it was like, damn man, this shit is gone, bro. And for me, like I said, like when Black Ops 1 goes offline, I think I'm gonna cry that day, man. That's a game that I still go back to, bro. I've never prestiged that many times in any Call of Duty, but that's the one game that I genuinely prestige like 5 times. And like, oh wait, Juice, I don't. Wait, do you guys hear Juice? I don't hear Juice.
I was muted, but
okay.
I was just saying it's been so long since I played Black Ops 1. I don't even remember. I remember 2 maps, like Firing Range and Jungle. That was.
What about Nuketown? You gotta remember Nuketown.
Oh, that was in the first.
I was about to say Nuketown.
So
Nuketown's.
I know why Robert's worried about this because with his gaming strategy, he's gonna be so far behind.
Strategies.
At some point, the online servers are gonna be off before he gets to play the game.
Oh, come on. That's not what I'm thinking of.
God damn.
That's not what I'm thinking of.
More shade. You're bringing back the shade cast.
Man, come on, yo. That's not what I'm thinking of. I'm playing respects to the Wii U, man.
I forget. Did you play Age of Calamity? I don't remember you ever talking about it.
I talked about it on here.
Yeah, you did.
And I remember well, I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it nearly as much as like you guys. I know you guys liked it more than me. That's for sure.
That's right. I remember.
But I know when I said it, well, it's not gonna make my top 10, and then Retro was like, "Fuck off, no."
Which one?
Age of Calamity.
Age of Calamity.
Wasn't that the game he said was like his dream game? Oh no, wait. Did that get number 1 over Animal Crossing?
The original dream game was Hyrule Warriors, and he just kept improving on that dream. Yeah, because like when I said that, like when Twilight Princess released, the original trailer for Twilight Princess had this fucking Conan the Barbarian music scene, like with the music and like these armies coming up, and it wasn't in the fucking game. And since then, I always wanted to have like a Zelda game with like a war, with like the races fighting. So we got Hyrule Warriors, which I really liked and stuff. But yeah, Age of Calamity kept it within a universe, an actual war, fighting on the battlefield. Like, fuck yeah, that was a dream come true for me, that shit.
What was Age of Calamity that year, though? I think that was the year I thought you were going to have it like 1 or 2. And I think
he had it at number 1.
Was it 1?
No, he had it at number 1. That was his number 1 game of the year.
Oh, Animal Crossing was 2.
Number 2 is Animal Crossing. I was like,
I don't even remember that anymore.
I remember that, yo. I remember that because I was like, what? And then
he started nitpicking Animal Crossing things it didn't have, and then he's like, I have 700 hours.
Yeah, well, he said, this is my dream fucking game, but that's my horrible idea.
That's why I had to put it above it, because it's a dream I had for years. But if you want to have like a top list, like Animal Crossing would be probably above Age of Calamity.
So, just since you said...
That was a top list, though.
Yeah, it was.
No, like I said, the reason I put it above it was because of that dream.
For that year, for that specific year.
Yeah, exactly.
Overall, though, it'd be above it. It doesn't quite make sense, but whatever.
So I had my dream, like, Star Wars show happen, and I finally watched it, was Andor. And I can't say I've been saying that for years that was my dream, but just to myself, I always thought there's got to be some really, like, good stories that could exist in that same world of that. The reality of that world, and to me, Andor was everything and more of that I ever could dream of, like a show that just exists in that world. And I think it just God, it was so good. And
Terrell's face, he's like,
like I didn't believe it when people said it was good because I'm a Disney hater, and only reason I have Disney Plus is because I needed Hulu and live sports. And
why you're a Disney hater, bro?
It only came with Disney. There was no option to not have Disney Plus.
Oops, that's my
trash company. Greedy.
Oh my goodness.
They ruin a lot of things.
You just mentioned every company on the Fortune 500. They're greedy.
I think Disney, to me,
they ruin things.
And then my brother had an interview for it was like it had to do with an annual party they did, and they planned it all year, and he was gonna work under the top person, and he was going through the interview process. He flew out to California, and he said the whole time she just talked about how much they can charge for tickets, how much money they were gonna make, and he's just like, I've always wanted to work for Disney. I've loved this company since I was a kid. He had bought all the movies, and he's like, all she did was talk about how they can charge these people for this, and this, and he just was like so turned off that he just like, I don't want this job, and flew back the next day. I talked to him about it. He was all bummed out. He's like, that's not the company I expected. That's not the Disney I love. That's just one small example, but I always think of that too, and whatever. Sidetracked. But I understand.
Terrell cares so little. His screen, like he just put a screensaver of his face on it, like he pretends he's still part of it.
Who?
Terrell? This camera is
your camera has been flickering.
I guess it's time to fucking update drivers. What the fuck?
This big ass fake smile on the screen and shit.
I hate it.
That's my retro death moment where I was like, this is what I've always wanted. I honestly
I hope you said it in that voice.
Yeah. To me, it's the best Star Wars since Empire Strikes Back, period, for me. And I thought it was gonna suck. I was like, why am I watching this? Even though people said it's good, they said No Way Home was good. Like, there's no way
you can't mention
good.
Wow.
You can't mention Empire.
Really gets brought up.
You like it a lot. You like it. It's the Star Wars you like the most since Empire Strikes Back. Even though there's not a lot of Star Wars. That's my thing. It's like you can like it, and I completely understand that. But when you say next to Empire Strikes Back, that's what I have a problem with.
It's got a similar tone for me. It's got a seriousness about it. It's just the writing's good, the acting's good, and when I say that, like, because everything, I like Return of the Jedi. Don't get me wrong. It's still better than any of the prequels or sequels.
It gets a lot of shit that I think is undeserved.
After those three movies, to me, they say, "Oh, this is Star Wars." I feel like George Lucas took the wrong lessons from the success of Star Wars or something, because
yeah, we can do a whole podcast about that.
To me, the prequels and the sequels, there's everything wrong about Star Wars for me. They got everything wrong, almost everything. There's some.
He fell too much in love because all the fans love Darth Vader, and so he felt like, oh, I got to make this about Darth Vader. And it's like, no, Darth Vader was cool, and he was just kind of like the Emperor's lapdog. I didn't mind that. That's pretty much all he was.
I didn't mind.
And then you have to make him this whole Jesus character, and I'm like, no, we ain't doing that.
People think Rogue One was good.
I didn't like the end, but I thought overall it was a good.
What? Rogue One.
I'd rather watch that than fucking Force Awakens or
Jen Erskine.
Anyway.
I can't believe I remember her name, but yeah. Anyway, let's not get into
That's
this.
why I didn't think Andor was gonna be good.
Debate.
I didn't think it was gonna be good at all. And literally for me, like, I put it up there with the early seasons of Game of Thrones. I was so engrossed with even the side storylines, the other characters, everybody's storylines were just so interesting to me. I was blown away. The prison, yeah, I don't want to. There was a couple really tense episodes, I thought. Anyway, back to gaming. Well, pretty much we're gonna wrap this up.
We gotta mention the big announcement. Was it today? There's a huge announcement today for retro gamers coming from Analogue.
Oh yes.
You want to elaborate?
Yeah, the Analogue 64.
Right. So Analogue, the makers of the Analogue Pocket, which I don't know why that thing's so popular. I mean, it's cool that there's another device that. I don't get it though. Can you explain why it's so popular?
The reason I have it personally is it's just easy because I don't have the Game Boy Player. I don't like for me like
yeah, no,
I like it on my
even
TV.
without
I
the
got
Game
the
Boy
dock.
Player. There's so many options. Go ahead.
No, because
Finish.
I'm playing the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Advance SP, and Game Gear because I got that Game Gear all on my TV. I can record it for backlog and stuff like it. That's for me like that's great. You know what I'm saying?
What is the one that had the crank on it?
So you mean for like capture?
I was thinking of.
Robert, what's the one that had like a crank?
Playdate, the Playdate.
That had a really nice screen. I couldn't believe how good that looked.
It is a nice screen. It's a really nice screen.
That looked like a high end device.
Well, I think you would really the analog screen is really clean.
No backlight though. That's the problem.
The screen is really clean, but it just for me, I like playing things on my TV, and so like they just helped out. Like it looks so amazing on the TV. Like how they, I mean, it is the crispest looking.
But I want to say that I don't think that that's the biggest draw. I know that's a good draw for you. I know you like that. Yeah.
Everything else, I don't know. But for
I'm
me,
trying to figure out why, because there's so many. Like you can send your fucking original Game Boy in and have somebody fucking put a nice fucking screen on it, with backlight and everything for way cheaper than an analog pocket. So I'm confused as to why it's so popular. Is it just perceived popularity, or is it like real? Because it feels real.
Wrong. For
a lot of people talk
if
about
I
it.
didn't play TV stuff, I wouldn't probably get it because like it is literally like a nicer screen Game Boy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
And there's also like a new fucking handheld emulation device coming out every week that you can play Game Boy. You can play every goddamn thing up to PlayStation 1, sometimes PlayStation 2 on it. So that's why I feel like the market is kind of saturated, and I'm surprised that it's as popular as it is. I'm glad. But anyway, we're not talking about the Analog Pocket, but it's the same company, and they promised something that I'm baffled by. I think everybody is just like surprised that. I think everybody's excited because they can't believe what they're promising here, which is they're making a, what do they call it? FPGA, F2. I never remember those fucking.
Yeah, I think it's FPGA or something.
Yeah, they're making their own N64 console that can apparently output 4K.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
it, bro.
How?
When the analog on the TV, it's gonna look nuts. I believe it.
But I'm like, but N64 is notoriously hard to get right when it comes to the hardware, emulation. Even, but this isn't really an emulation device as far as I'm concerned, because you put your N64 cartridge into this thing, and I guess you could say the hardware itself mimics what the N64 can do, but obviously more because it's 4K. Like how the
do with like those super low res textures are there? I imagine
that's what I'm saying.
I imagine there's not like a high res texture somewhere in the code. Like it's still just.
I'm thinking. Well, the emulation that Nintendo does on, even Nintendo, what is it called?
3D All Stars.
Nintendo Switch Online. What is it called? Is that the official name?
Switch Online.
Switch Online. It's better than what N64 was. It's clean. Like the textures look better, right? So you can take that signal and make it a 4K signal, I would guess, and it's maybe it would look sharper, but you're not changing really the fundamental.
You plug the cartridge in the.
Yeah, but you're putting your own N64 cartridge in.
Like
that's where it's different. Because at least the N64 Online, that's an emulation thing. Like so there's a software emulation thing going on. But you're taking your original N64 cartridge and putting it into their console, and it's outputting 4K. How the fuck are you doing that? I think that's what everybody's excited about, and I want to see if they can actually pull it off.
What is it?
Because emulation on the N64 itself is already hard enough. Like it's barely perfect anywhere.
And I'm guessing you can plug N64 controllers in.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's literally imagine like it's gonna be like an N64,
like a Hyperkin,
but made today. Like
you know what a Hyperkin is, right?
Like,
oh man, how you don't know what a Hyperkin is? You kind of gamer. Hyperkin is one of those. It's a third-party console that plays multiple different game systems.
Like the Retron,
like my buddy has one for Genesis, and
like the Retron.
But those are like, but those I believe the Retrons are technically emulation. I think.
But they're technically emulation. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So they're talking FPGA or whatever that shit is.
I wish you could see from the TV like how clean the Game Boy like games and the Game Gear games. Like I was looking, I'm like, dude, that looks nuts. Like it looks so clean. And so I don't know what the fancy tech they use is, but I have 100% faith that they're gonna do some crazy thing that's gonna look insane. I'm gonna be like, oh my god, that's really.
They showed like a silhouette of the It looks pretty slick. I mean, all you can see is a silhouette. The controller, they showed a little tease of it, and I'm using my own controller because
you know, I can one up your cattail.
If it's really good, will you pick one up? If it generally is like really good, would you be willing to pick one up?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna get one if it actually does what it says it's doing. Yeah. I would, and it makes me sad because I just spent $300 goddamn putting in this goddamn mod into my N64, and I'm like, oh fuck, maybe I should sell it right now while I still can.
I mean, yeah, but what, doesn't it look good? Does it look good then? I mean, I'm sure it looks. Really
it does look good, but I don't think it's gonna look as good as what this thing's gonna do.
Yeah.
I think it will give you. I think it's gonna give it. It has to. It can't just take an N64 signal and make it 4K. It's gonna have to do some software stuff, like Switch Online does, where the textures actually are cleaner and crisper.
How would that not add like input latency if it's like?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's another thing.
I'm telling you, it doesn't. At least on the Analog Pocket, it didn't. I'm like, I wish. I mean, you know, like imagine now
you're playing 2D game. You're talking 2D side-scrolling games. When you talk about 3 worlds and inputs, that's a different beast.
Look, I have faith in them. Man.
You guys remember when we were like, when people were clamoring or predicting the N64 Mini like for like 2 straight years? It never was gonna happen. It just never was.
No,
they were predicting that the same way they were predicting the Switch Pro. Like it was wishful thinking.
The main reason it was never going to happen, or the hardest thing, was the emulation thing. Because N64 is very hard to emulate even today. And you still have issues. You have Mario Kart where the fucking textures don't show up. This is just, and the price, obviously.
It would be, with those controllers, it would be really expensive.
Exactly.
Did they ever release N64? Did those ever come out for the Switch online? Wasn't there N64 controllers?
Yeah, they're out. Yeah.
But they sell out all the time.
Like, how do you even buy it? I know you have to be a member.
You're not worth it. We're worth
my Nintendo, and then
are they
sell
wireless?
Out, like, literally.
Yeah.
I don't know. They might actually be available now, but every time I see it, they always sell out. So.
I can check real quick. I'll check real quick.
And I keep
you can buy them on eBay for twice the price if you want.
Does anybody know, is that Ada Wong? Is that DLC, paid DLC on RE4 remake?
I think so.
I don't know.
I think it is. I think it's paid DLC.
Okay. Because I've been meaning to check that out because, you know, that was part of the original PS2 version. It came with all that, so I thought maybe they would include it. Somebody was saying.
But you can also, if you already have an N64 controller, you can use an adapter, and that works.
Really?
Yeah. I used my adapter for.
Yeah, but remember something
didn't quite work out. It was something wonky with the control. I had to.
One of the buttons or functions didn't work, if I remember. But anyway, I think we'll get out of here. Want to do final thoughts? Should we do final thoughts?
No.
Remember that? No.
We haven't done it in a while.
My final thoughts is by Robert's definition, Bowser's Fury is not a full game because it's a standalone game.
You leave this shit alone?
It's not a standalone.
You're already ruined final thoughts. It's already ruined.
You're a fucking instigator.
I just want to tell T that you have like 5 months left to finish your Mario Maker 1 level.
I knew that was coming. I knew once I mentioned Mario, somebody was going to bring up my Mario Maker levels. God damn you. Now, I have more time now because Pretender Direct is going to give me more time. They're allowing me more time.
Also, you can. Also, by the way, you can buy the N64 controller now. It's in stock.
Buy one, Terrell.
Like $50.
No. Yeah, it's $50.
I have no use for it.
Do you want to buy one right now?
No,
because I'm not just letting you guys know I'm not going to be on N64. I'm not going to be in that tier after this year's over. We're done with that tier.
Honestly, until the Switch 2 comes out, I said it 3 years in a row. I'm completely out of the Switch Online. We don't play Smash. We don't play anything. You guys play on like
I go down to the regular tier, but I'm done with this extra tier. I get no use out of it because I would rather just play
use out of the online.
Unfortunately, remember when we played it, like when we tried to play with all of us, it was just laggy as shit.
It was laggy.
It was laggy.
I mean,
that's the unfortunate thing.
I get more use out of the. I know it's way more, but like I've gotten more use out of PlayStation Plus than I ever thought, and then the Switch Online, Nintendo 64. We did since that GoldenEye night. I haven't booted up one game.
It sucks because I wouldn't mind playing, but like it was laggy.
And it was laggy as shit.
You get more out of PlayStation's rental service. That's worse than Game Pass. But Game Pass is so terrible. I heard how terrible Game Pass is.
It's their online service. I got Elden Ring and then Retro Death.
And we played. Me and Juice played Returnal.
I ain't getting it again. I don't think I'll be playing anymore online. So.
Well, they shot that price up a little bit.
Yeah,
so
it's going up to 80.
Yeah. That's ridiculous.
I'm glad.
And there was no change. There was no benefit to it either. It just went to 80 for no goddamn reason.
They added something new, like PS2 games, like real ones. And
I didn't look at the other tiers.
I did buy Game Pass recently, so I have Game Pass.
But Callisto Protocol hit PlayStation Plus, and there's no way I would ever play that game. I still might, but I added it to the library just in case. But that came out this year, and they already.
So you're able to play an old game that you would have never bought.
It's not that old.
Otherwise,
it came out this year.
Oh.
I think last year.
Look at T.
Oh wait,
it's kind of familiar.
At the end of last year.
It came out with
it's at least a year old now.
It's not a year.
It came out with that. No, it's less than a year old because it came out December. So it's
okay. We talking months to a week.
We're talking about a year-old game. We're talking about a 9-month or 10-month-old game versus a 4-year. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm not gonna play it.
Some games are 4 years. Some games are like there's way more games on Xbox. It's easy to point out the older games.
Exactly, but the difference is
Liza P. I think that's a new game.
The whole thing about it,
very good. I think
the whole argument about it was, the game hit. I didn't tweet about it. I didn't say, "Oh my God, Callisto Protocol, it's on PlayStation Plus."
But you should have, man.
I can play it for free. That's the kind of stuff.
You should have, bro.
I could play it for free.
So I was just like, I'll add it to the library. Probably never play it.
But you nitpick. Everybody don't do that. That has Game Pass.
But I didn't get PlayStation Plus for the games. I got it to play online. Okay. That's just like it's not my way to play games. But they added this. They added a couple games that I played, and I was like, all right.
But I'm trying to make a general point. You're making a discussion about what your taste. I'm saying a lot of people were hating on Game Pass and still do. Oh, it's a rental service, blah, blah, blah. But when the other guy does it, and they do it worse, by the way, it's fine. You don't hear an argument about, it's ruining gaming and all this kind of nonsense.
My counter to that. I can't imagine a single person's getting PlayStation Plus to be their way of playing games. Because you never know what's coming.
Really? Well, then why get the top tier? Because a lot of people got the top tier so they can play PS2, PS1. A lot of people do that. A lot of people talk about that.
Top tier is more like
I'm talking about the basic.
The top tier would be kind of like
you got a point.
And it's more expensive.
You got a point on the top. I don't even know what the top tier offer. Honestly, I have no idea. Never looked at it. Don't care. So and I can't say.
What does the bottom tier offer?
That's your standard
2 or
online
3
membership
games every month
with
online.
3 games every month. It's not, but the 3 games every month is the extra. It's just the way to have. If you want to play online, you get just like Xbox Live Gold used to be. You pay $60 a year, you get online, and then they give you a couple games, 3 games every month. It's not
Live Gold was included with Game Pass, so you got those free games on the small.
But in the before Game Pass, that was Xbox Live Gold, and you got a couple games. That's what PlayStation's base one still is. That's what all
right, but they also, again, on the upper tiers, they offer newer games, maybe a year old, maybe 6 months old. They offer these. They do the same thing. They do almost exactly the same thing. The only thing they don't do is offer day and date first party stuff. That's the only thing they don't do that's different. Now, when it comes to Game Pass,
and I honestly didn't.
They do. They've had first party stuff on Game Pass or PSN.
Have they?
Oh no, no. I thought you were talking about Xbox. I mean, they don't even do first party stuff, so how can you give them away? That's what I'm.
Wow.
Oh, you're making a joke. No, I got
my argument would be, I don't follow ponies or bots at this point. I can't. I mean, how long has it even been out? I've never seen or heard of a single person even talk about the PlayStation Plus, other to say that
because they can't. That's what my point is. Yeah. They can't. They railed against Game Pass all these years, and now for them to rail against PS or talk about PSN in any kind of way, it would be hypocritical. It's like, oh, wait a minute, you guys shut on Game Pass for 3-4 years now,
and then I don't even care enough to look at the PlayStation 1. I'm just not interested in that at all. So it's not like I'm hyping up PlayStation. The base one is what I'm talking about.
You are not doing it, but some people do it. It was you act like everybody on Game Pass hypes up Game Pass. That's not true.
I've never seen anybody even talk about
I've never seen. Well, that's a huge sample size there. I've never seen anybody do it.
Well, how can I react when I've seen so many damn tweets about Game Pass the first couple of years where I was just like, I gotta stop following people. I've never seen one person talk about play other than to say this service is overpriced and it's bad. That's the only thing I've ever seen about it. Never seen.
I think when people praise Game Pass, sometimes it gets overblown. Oh my God, are you a problem? Like it's not as deep as people make some of this stuff. Like Alana Pierce, she said, "Oh, it's the best deal in gaming." Blah blah blah. Oh my God, why people go crazy about her just saying a simple little statement like that. That is the difference.
So bad about this shit.
I'm sure that happens, but
we chose violence this episode, fellas.
It's also because it's a lot of peers.
You gotta call it. You gotta call it violence. Just call this one violence.
It's also a lot of peers. I don't really.
And you always remember,
she's a Sony employee, by the way.
You always remember the worst case scenario, like the old, oh, I can play Octopath Traveler in 4. It's gonna look so good in 4K, and I can play it for free. Those comments, like the play it for free stuff I've seen. I mean, this has been going on. They've had Game Pass for.
It's not for free. You're paying for a service.
I know, but I've seen so many people just, and I've read threads about, and people like, yeah, I get to play this for free. Like it's just,
it's always.
It was so much for me. It was just so much of Twitter feed for at least 2 years. And it's honestly, and I said this, and it's just the truth that Xbox One, end of the Xbox One generation, the Xbox fans, they didn't have much else to hang their hat on, and Game Pass was the thing.
I said the same thing.
I understand, but to me, when I see somebody say oh, this game's coming to Game Pass, I get to play this, and I'm just like, I don't know why that's still tweetable. It's Game Pass has been such a thing. It's not news. It's not news at this point.
Because I can take a shit and tweet that.
Not everybody has disposable income. Again, we got to look outside of so. Not everybody has disposable income. Giving a kid a Series S, say if you don't have a lot of money, you give your kid a Series S and you pay for Game Pass. They're good. They are literally good for the year. As if they're a gamer. So.
Yeah, I'm not like, oh my God, you shouldn't have it. That's
something to be happy about for a lot of people. Oh my God, I can play.
I just got so sick of seeing, and then at the end of every E3 for a couple years, after every game got shown, you have to say day one coming to Game Pass. It was just, to me, it was just forced down our throats. It was forced down our throats.
They're a company trying to sell a product. What do you want them to do?
I'm just telling you, it was just. To me, it was just overexposure. I was just so sick of hearing about it. It is what it is. People, it's like if someone would just constantly tell you about Netflix and they added this now to Netflix. They added for a year straight. I'd be sick of it. Doesn't mean I don't like Netflix or when Netflix gets good stuff, I watch it. It just is what it is. And as far as the base PlayStation 1 or PlayStation Plus, I got it because I knew Retrodeath was getting it, but Clocked I played Elden Ring a few times and played Returnal. I didn't use it as much as I should have, but I was like, hey, there was some games that I probably wouldn't have picked up that I checked out. And I was like, all right, so I got some use out of it, but I'm not gonna get it again.
So I still think my point is valid.
But yeah, if you're talking about whatever the top tier PlayStation Plus is, I don't even know. What you had to tell me, I have no idea. If it sounds like it's terrible, yeah, it's not even a comparison. So that's probably why no one's talking about it or no even.
Yeah, I'm not even trying to compare it to Game. My point is the idea of Game Pass was a problem for a lot of people. Oh, it's gonna ruin blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, Ubisoft does it now, EA does it now, and Sony's doing it now. Is it still that? Is that model still ruinous for gaming?
Ubisoft service didn't go. They didn't go through with that, did they?
No, they have the
Ubisoft Plus is real. No, it's up. You got to get in the loop.
Yeah, that actually.
It's big.
When they announced that with all the just the old,
it's out there.
Creeds,
it's a
all
thing.
It has, and people actually.
Yeah, that's why they're excited about the deal they got with Microsoft with the streaming stuff, because now they could put all the Activision shit on their streaming service.
Yeah,
so they're super happy about it.
Doesn't is successful, but anyway, that's just another topic for another day.
Well, it's going to be now.
I would say especially in the early days. Remember, Game Pass was about 100 games initially. It was like a rotating 100 games, and that's
over 100 games is what they said.
There was definitely, and Red Knight was a factor. He was really pushing it down my throat, and he made videos. He didn't specifically call me out, but he called out like anybody who buys a game is an idiot when you can just pay $1 and play it on Game Pass. Like that's that
ridiculous.
Kind of comments was my like first experience with people talking about Game Pass. So I probably have a little PTSD about it, but in general, like even if Nintendo and Sony did like full day and date, just what Microsoft's doing, I still not gonna get them. For me, it's just not. It's not appealing to me.
Nintendo has a Game Pass. They got an old ass Game Pass, but they got a Game Pass.
I don't play enough games. I'm not worried about playing that many games in a year to pay $180 a year to have it. You know.
I think it's bullshit that you have to pay to play online. Period. They should have a tier where it's just I want to play online. That
should be free at this point, and then have ads.
You shouldn't be charging people to pay for something they already fucking paid for.
I still say the PS3 had the best version of that. The PS3 at least gave you an option.
Yeah.
I blame Microsoft low key on that.
Well, the Wii U, man. Or Wii U, yo, you just
well, no, because the PS3 gave you options. The PS3 gave you a paid option and a free option. The Wii U just gave you a free option.
What did the Dreamcast give you?
Wait, I don't think the PS3 had a paid. The PS3 had a paid option.
No, the PS3 had a paid option.
The Dreamcast had a pay option for Sega.
That's it. You have to pay to play online. That was it. So again, you blaming Microsoft for some shit they didn't even start.
No, I was saying like PS3. I don't think
the PS3 had a free version.
And then it had free home though. It wasn't. You could.
But it also did. It had PlayStation Plus. PlayStation Plus started on PS3.
Mm-hmm.
But you could still play it for free.
Game, like with the game.
Yeah,
they didn't charge.
But it didn't lock you out of. It didn't lock you out of online play.
That's right. Which nobody should do. Nobody should do that.
Yeah.
Nobody should do that.
Well, I always
pull out my damn Steam Deck and go online and just go online with my fucking internet. Why can't everybody else do that? Why they?
Well, the saddest thing
Steam ain't charging me.
Games with gold, I mean, they stopped that with the Xbox One, but all the 360 games you were able to keep, even if you like when you download, like when you added it to library, it was permanent. Like you stopped paying, and it was actually you owned the game.
And Sony
was like Epic Games
Store,
which and then they stopped that, which I get why. But
I mean, if you're gonna put games on there, I can see like incentive to pay for the next year or next month. Oh, I got some games I didn't play. I can see why they would do that, and then Sony, the base one, you have to add those games to your library every month, otherwise you miss them and you're gone. So that kind of makes it a little more. If you're paying for a year, they should just be added to your. You should be able to add them for that year, So
yeah, no, I get that.
Because I had a protocol just in case.
You should remove them from the library. They should be automatically added, and then you remove them.
Yeah,
that's what it should be.
But it is what it is. I got till like March to play whatever few games I still have in my library that I haven't tried. Like I got Alan Wake remastered. I might try it out just to see if I'm be interested in the second game.
And that's another thing. These services, they induce anxiety because it's like, bitch, I don't have enough time to play all this shit you're dropping right now. By the time I get to it, you're gonna be taking that shit off the service, you fuckers. Yeah.
And
Liza
right now,
P, I got no time for you. You look good. I've been playing you a little bit, but
right now I have the least amount of subscription. I only have Hulu Plus Live Sports, which comes with Disney Plus and Hulu and ESPN, just so I can watch football season. And other than that, I have free Peacock, and then I have nothing else. I've got rid of Prime, I got rid of HBO, got rid of Netflix, and my buddy's gonna cancel his Paramount Plus, so I don't have to worry about sharing anything with him. And I'm like,
can't do it, man. I can't do it. I don't know how you do that shit. I need my services.
Honestly, I have Hulu, Disney Plus. I've been using Disney Plus a lot. That's the only one I would even consider keeping at this point. But I think I'm gonna be caught up.
Disney Plus is the one I might shutter. It's just
I'm gonna watch Obi-Wan because who knows? Maybe I'll think it's decent, and then I might try Loki.
Are you on Disney Plus now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I got the no ads version.
I was gonna send you the movie version of Obi-Wan. You should watch that over the show. Somebody took the fucking episodes and made it into a movie, and they cut out the bullshit, and it is gorgeous.
I'm sure that's good, beautiful. But I heard that about the Mandalorian season 3, and only 40 or 30 minutes of one episode did I feel
wait.
that.
What are you talking about? Because you haven't seen Obi-Wan.
I haven't seen it yet. I understand, but people said
there's no comparison. No. There's no comparison between Obi-Wan and Mandalorian. You will be pissed. Trust me.
I will let you know.
Okay.
Because people said Mandalorian season 3 was like that. It was like, oh, it's just all this nonsense. I don't care about all this bullshit. Blah blah blah. They're forcing other stuff, and I'm like,
okay, no. Obi-Wan has technical issues, like just stuff that doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
Like it has nothing to do with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we'll get out of here. Thanks everybody for tuning in, putting up with our arguing. I think next week we gotta talk about Wii versus GameCube or something.
Yeah, that was Mario Wonder stuff. I think
we gotta talk about Galaxy 2. Galaxy 2 is better than Odyssey next week.
Who's the voice actor for Mario?
Galaxy 2.
I think we gotta talk about why Bait and Kaitos is not a good game next week.
Trash.
Oh, we gotta instigate. That's the.
See,
I'll be for sure gone the next 3 months.
Okay, well we're definitely talking about Bowser's Fury, how it's not a full game. How it's DLC.
I'll be in
Japan. You'll be here in spirit.
But anyway, we'll see you guys probably 2 weeks. Damn it, I hit the wrong button.
Oh my god, why'd you leave Discord?
He always does it.
I don't always. I don't know.